So, Zach, I think we need to talk about bookends.
Is that how the podcast begins?
I guess it is. I guess that's what I'm going with.
Hi, welcome to Fruit. I'm Zach. That's Merc. Something,
I'm
something,
Merc.
something happened this month. A few things, and
Did something happen? Oh,
now we're just
okay.
in a weird space. So welcome
Well,
to this new strange episode of the Locacacast. Thank you for joining us. Here we
I
go.
don't know. I don't know if I would define my space as weird. I know
I've
you're in a weird space because you told me, but
I've been put into a very strange place by the release of this chapter, Chris. This is the first
I'm just.
time in the history of me reading JoJolion monthly that the chapter came out and I'm actually more depressed after than before. Normally the chapter comes out and it like restores me to life. And it's like, oh, thank God I didn't kill myself. I lived long enough to see the next JoJolion chapter. But this one, like, it left me worse than it found me.
Is it because we were wrong about everything?
Yes, it's because we were wrong about everything, and it's because, like, nothing's going well. Like,
It's a
nightmare.
you're on the first page, right? Because this is a spoiler heavy chapter.
Yeah.
I want to get that out ahead of time. This is a very spoiler heavy chapter.
Yeah.
Please do not watch this episode until you have read chapter 108 of JoJolion.
I mean, that goes for all of our episodes, really. You're supposed to be reading along if you're listening to this podcast, but this one, just like the other episode where Norisuke got killed, is a very, like, you don't want to watch this one if you don't want to be spoiled. Like, consume the story yourself and then come here.
I think I remember I called that one the spoiler episode. This is the spoilerer episode.
I really hope we get to continue this trend and do a spoilerist episode.
Yeah, but then what if a chapter that's even more spoilery comes out than that one?
Well then, the spoilerierist chapter.
There you go.
Okay, here we go. So,
all right, so hold on. Do we have anything we want to talk about this week? Or well,
do we?
like okay, I don't know. You don't really want to hear me talk about Ryan George and Red Letter Media, do you?
I do, but I feel like
we set up a momentum. And
yeah,
we should just keep that going.
We're moving. We're moving fast.
And fuck what happened in our months.
Yeah, I'll talk with you personally about Red Letter Media more later. Like, I liked that last month. That was very enjoyable. But right now, all I have on my mind is I want to talk about this JoJo chapter.
Well, I didn't have much to say about Red Letter Media anyway, other than I got caught up. So.
Oh, cool. Have you started on the best of the worst yet?
I have not. I'm putting that off.
I'm just waiting for one of these months you'll come in here and be like, Zach, I watched every episode of Best of the Worst. Like, holy shit.
When would I have time to do that? Those things are long as fuck.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I think I have seen every episode of Best of the Worst at this point, but I put the episode on, and then I'm, like, watching it very closely for, like, the beginning part where they select the tapes, and then when they're initially watching them. And then I sort of, like, lock my phone or minimize the window, and I listen to the middle part where they're laughing and joking as just like a podcast. I just listen to the audio, and then I might tune back in visually for the end if there's something else happening. So that's how I get through those long-ass videos. I watch the beginning and end, but I treat the middle like a big podcast. I just let it play. I don't know if that's actually the best way to do it, but if there's anything like extremely funny that happens that I feel like I missed the visual cue for, I'll be able to tell. just to go back.
The thing that I've been doing a lot recently is like setting videos on like 1.5 or 1.75 speed.
Right, yeah. That's a solid efficiency move right there, gamer. I used to do that. Alright, well, let's get right the fuck into it. This chapter broke my heart. This chapter stomped on my soul. This chapter fucked me in the ass and spit in my mouth.
Well, before we get to the depressing part, hey, let's talk about bookending. Bookending is an important trick that you can use in your writing to really drive home the theme of the story.
To make it seem like you know how to write a good story.
Well, we know Araki knows how to write a good story. He's written like 7 of them.
Dude, this shook me to my core so hard that, like, my faith in our Lord and Savior is questioned. Like, I don't... Are you... Is the whole foundation...
But you use the bookends, see, so it's okay.
Yeah, so it's good writing. Gotcha. But, like, are you as shook about this as I am? Like, this chapter has left me, like, not even sure if JoJolian's my favorite part anymore.
I don't know. Honestly, this chapter didn't really impact me that much.
This fucking wrecked me.
It could be shock. It could be just that I don't care anymore, and I just want to see the end. It could be a lot of things, but I don't think I feel the same way as you do about this chapter.
Yeah, I think I feel like I got hit by a truck, man. Let's move on into it. First of all, Yasuo got a little redesign. She's got lipstick now. That's cool.
Also, reminder that this is a story about breaking a curse. See, that's the bookend.
Always has been, always will be, baby.
Because she says, like, I think that's like the first line in JoJolion, actually. This is a story about breaking a curse. Or if it's not the first line, it's at least in the first chapter.
It is indeed in the first chapter.
And this part actually makes me nervous, because this makes me think that this might actually be the final arc.
Yeah, that's what's, like, digging into me as well. Yeah, anyway, I brought up Yasuo's curse dialogue in the first chapter.
You know what the worst part about this is?
Yeah?
JoJo Wiki might be right about something. Sorry, jojo.wiki.com or whatever.
The fandom wiki, yes.
Fandom. The fandom wiki might be right about something.
Uh-huh. About what?
About Toru being the main villain.
Oh, Christ, yeah. Fuck. Because we talked about that on a previous episode, didn't we? Where the fandom wiki says Toru is the main villain of Part 8. And then on the JoJo wiki it says Toru is a major antagonist.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
You know what? Worse than that is I would be wrong. Because I made fun of them for that. I made fun of them for jumping the gun on that.
Oh, man.
But maybe they were not dumb. I was the dumbass.
I really can't. Like, is Toru really, like, the last fight? I don't know that that's, like, a good villain at all. Like, how does that stack up next to fucking Dio, Cars, Diavolo, Kira, Pucci, and Valentine?
I mean, let's be real. Some of the main villains of JoJo parts are just ass.
Yeah,
they're
Diavolo.
not interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can, like, literally, if you are a super fan, you can think about it hard enough and, like, convince yourself Diavolo is interesting. You can, like, find something about it to hone in on. But, like, no, he sucks. He's really, like, he's not even really in the narrative enough. So, you know, it's like this chapter has left me thinking, oh shit, you know, what if I can't just rely on blind faith and Araki will come through at the end of the day? You know, he's written stuff I didn't like before. He's written parts and endings that I thought were questionable before. So, like...
I mean, like, the other argument to make is there a stand that's more suited to be the final villain stand than Wonder of You in this part?
Well, I don't know that the final stand needs to be the most powerful and cataclysmic one. Not to
Well,
bring
no,
up
not
high
if you do.
voltage.
Well, not if you do an epilogue like High Voltage or like or fucking Sleeping Slaves, but
Yeah.
like
Man, but I thought, like... Okay, we're not even into the chapter yet. We gotta move. We gotta get to the next page. The story's about breaking a curse. Go. Chapter opens. We immediately get a shot of the walleyes, the meditation pine, the wall of the Higashikata property, the destroyed home, and then there's Mitsuba. So immediately I was like, oh, my first prediction was wrong. Because I thought that
mine
Kato...
wasn't. She got knocked out.
Yeah, she literally just got knocked against the wall and bumped her head during the plane crash. And she's perfectly fine. But I thought Kato would have like done something to her to get Tsurugi. So that one was wrong. Next page.
I can't believe Kato was actually like the hero of JoJo Leon.
I can't fucking believe that either. Like, that shit's ridiculous. Like, what? Like, I can't believe Kato just got wasted like that.
I feel like
Got absolutely
Araki
thrown away.
listens to our. I feel like Araki listens to our podcast and wrote the chapter like this specifically to spite us. Because remember, we said a lot of things that like, oh, like Norisuke is dead. No, he's not.
Why the fuck is Norisuke not dead, but Jobin is dead?
Jobin's not dead. He's gonna get back up. Araki's like, write that down.
Write that down! Write that down! And then it cuts to the assistant's notepad, and he's just like, it's just playing tic-tac-toe.
But yeah.
No, dude, I'm fucking like, I don't know what to do or say right now. Can I even like go over this chapter page by page? It's an equivalent exchange between Tsurugi and the guy, the dickhead. And then she squishes the potted plant between the fucking space trucking cars and smashed it into pulpy tree sap. And when this happened...
But that's not how that works.
Yeah, no, it's not. I don't understand. Like, since when is it physical compression? I thought it was just things like bag of holding style, you know?
It's like D4C.
Yeah. Thought it was like a bag of holding. Like you could just reach into that space and pull out something much bigger than the space it was contained in. I didn't know it was like, you know, the thing that you're putting between the cards gets squished and like broken. But even so, when this happened, I thought...
I guess that's an ability that she has now, Araki decided.
I don't know, man. This blows. But as soon as she did that, I was like, oh, okay, we're getting somewhere. This is good. Because she's got that pulpy tree sap. She pours it onto Tsurugi. Tsurugi
also,
starts
hey, you know who's...
the bulk of the exchange.
Hey, you know who's fucked now?
Who?
You know who's just actually fucked now?
Holly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like...
I can't believe we just watched Holly die.
I can't believe any of this, dude. Like, so... Error in my feelings. Oh, sick. She's got a way to get more healing power out of the plant. Like, she made the sap. That's awesome. Pours it on Tsurugi. Helps the exchange happen. The head doctor fucking, like, jumps out of the air and tackles her. That's a great panel. And then the next one, the head doctor's fucking head explodes. These last like
Yeah, this
these last like
shades of Shigechi here probably. They're probably gonna play some like really sad dramatic music as this is going on in the anime in like 90 years.
yeah. God, I'm not even excited for the anime now. This is how it ends. Like I can't even overstate like how much this has thrown me off course in my journey. But no, this fucking what was I just gonna goddamn say?
You have the energy of Hannibal Buress going, ha ha ha, this sucks.
This sucks, man. Yeah. So, okay. She gets the sap, and at this point I was still like, whoa, awesome. The head doctor tries to tackle her, and his fucking brain just explodes. That's sick. And then, head doctor falls away behind her. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah. And then when he begs for his life, that was pretty sick. Yasuo, stop this goddamn bitch already.
Also, no Josuke showing up to say, wait a minute, he wasn't a rock human.
Yeah, or that he was a rock human, but half.
Because he does get rocked at the
Yeah,
end.
man, he wasn't crumbling at all in the slightest until this chapter. Like, this chapter was the first one. Let me go back to 107. No, 107, he's still, like, bleeding like a normal person. This was the first time we saw him, like, assume rock form.
But it's because of the rock curse.
Huh. Oh yeah, also, what the fuck is that? Oh my god, we see his eyeball pop out, like Tamaki Damo. Look, on the page where he says, Yasuo, stop this goddamn bitch already. And he's like exploding. His eyeball. Look.
Oh yeah?
His fucking eyeball came out like Tamaki Damo.
Oh yeah, you can even see it in the next panel over there.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit. I was talking about in the next panel in the wide shot. But then also in that wide shot, you can see the knife coming out from between two of Kato's cards. It's about to stab her.
Oh, yeah?
So in the next one...
I didn't even notice the knife when I originally read through this.
Yeah, me too. I only just noticed it now. Toru becomes nothing but some bits and pieces. Disintegrates. Oh my god, but dude, when he reached for the hornet, when he reached towards the bee, I was like, oh no. A rock human can just, like, take over. He can just, like, possess that bee and, like, live as that bee for 20 years.
Nope, that's only Wutomuki. We established this.
Wait, no? I'm talking about rock human babies. Where they get left in the wilderness, and then they assimilate into a hive. They, like, put their hand on the back of the queen bee, and then they, like, assimilate into it. They, like, become it. They, like, live inside of it.
Yeah. Man, Wutomuki's just useless now, huh?
Yeah, fuck Wutomuki, man.
All of his abilities are just things that rock humans do, we decided now.
I guess. But anyway, when he reached for the hornet, I was like, oh no, this is the worst. He's gonna get away, like he's gonna become the hornet and just fly away, and we won't see him, like, for 20 years. Like he's gonna start the whole cycle over again, make a new body.
Man, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
A mid part time skip.
Yeah. Like, imagine everybody standing outside the house like, well, fuck. We lost the plant. We killed the guy, we think. Everybody got hurt. Some people died.
Next two pages are just a spread that says 20 years later.
Yeah. Dude, I personally freaking popped out of my chair in Avengers Endgame when they cut off Thanos' head, and he's like, there's no way to undo it. It's done. And they just kill him, and then it says 5 years later. You're like, what? No! Are you fucking with me? That's such a great moment to announce that there's a time skip right after, like, the characters find out they're in the bad timeline.
I mean, without the time skip, that would have been a very different movie. That would have been like very short as well.
Yeah, they just show up and just beat his ass and go home. And it needed to be that level of convoluted because, like, if they just showed up and beat his ass and used the stones, you know.
Well, also,
Whatever.
like the time skip serves another purpose, and that's that, like, they put out 2 of these, like things a year, right?
Yeah,
So the time skip lets them just like sort
catch
of
back
skip
up to real
forward
life.
so that they can catch back up to the
I
actual
thought that
like.
was so cool when all of a sudden it said 2020 or 2019, and then it would like cut back to when Guardians of the Galaxy took place in their timeline. But for them, it took place in 2014, same year it came out for us. So I think that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought I saw Hornet, and then he dies.
Yeah. But this is actually, like the next page is kind of sad, where he's like, I just thought I saw a hornet. Oh, I see. It was just a memory of mine. Like there was no
Nope.
hornet.
You're not getting me to sympathize with this guy.
No, I mean, that's kind of sad. Like, he's the worst fucking guy ever. But even so, he's like, reaches out and he wants the bug to land on his finger. And he's like, oh, never mind. I'm just dying and hallucinating. There actually isn't even any bug. Even a bug will not comfort me in my dying moments. Anyway. So then he just turns into dust and slides off the hood of the car. The plant's on the ground.
And then 5 years later, he comes back.
Oh, hey, notice this. Notice this, why don't you? On the page where Tori's, on the page where Kato's got her arms crossed and she says, I can hear a siren from far off. An ambulance is coming. Look at the top panel above that. Look at Mitsuba's face. You see it?
This is after the page after
Tori
Yasuo's
becomes
looking at the plant.
dust, yes.
But
Look at...
before he becomes dust.
Oh, no. I'm telling you, after he, like, completely becomes tiny little rocks and slides
after,
off
okay.
the hood. Look at the
Yeah,
shot
I'm
of
looking at-
Mitsuba right
I'm
after
looking
that.
at. Yeah, okay.
Bro, did she get some of that tree sap or something? Because her equivalent exchange nose is gone. She has her normal nose back.
Fuck. Damn it, Araki.
God damn it. You know what? I'm gonna blame the assistants for this one. I'm gonna blame his assistants.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I'm just gonna fucking... I don't care how valid that is. I'm just gonna blame them, and we're moving on. So yeah, Kato's like, oh, an ambulance is coming, and then she reveals she has a super huge knife inside of her and just falls over and dies. And this was the moment where I was like, oh no, this isn't going how I wanted. What the fuck
this
is
is
happening?
kind of lame.
Yeah,
honestly.
it is. This is like, this sucks. This absolutely blows. Like, I cannot fucking believe, out of all the predictions that everyone made about Jojolian, that, like, the one that ended up being true was the guy who jokingly said, lol, imagine they bring Kato back just to do her like Kay. Like, bring her back into the story just to kill her the next
Araki
chapter.
really loves bringing characters back into the story to die.
And they fucking... That is exactly what happened. So, congrats to this guy. I hope he enjoys that gift of prophecy from Apollo. But, fuck that. This sucks, man. I don't even know what to say about this. Like, where do you feel like Jojolian's going now that she's died? Like, I have no idea. It seems
honestly,
like terrible timing.
I feel nothing. I have no predictions. This could literally go anywhere.
I feel nothing as well, but it's not because I have no predictions. It's because I'm dead inside and I want to die. And I don't feel
that's
like this
part of
manga
it.
is...
That's part of it. That might be part of it, Zach.
But, like, okay, so... This is a terribly sloppy conclusion to Kato's character arc. And I don't feel like this is what should have happened. I'm just going to come out and say it. This is wrong. This is incorrect. Because Kato appears and she says, I am going to take my life back. And she's also like, I hate Josuke. He's a freeloader. And it's like, they set her up to be this like person who's like making moves and out there like making plans, making things happen. And then she just like disappears for most of the story, comes back just to get stabbed and die before she can even interact with Josuke again.
Well, she always did have to die because, like, we established that she did a big child murder.
Yeah, but like,
But she was underutilized. I will agree.
I don't understand, Chris. I just don't understand. This is like when a horrible tragedy happens and it's just beyond your comprehension or understanding. Chris texted me, or he messaged me on Discord, and he was like, we're going to talk about bookends on the next podcast. And I just said, I'm hurt bad. This is the first time a JoJolian chapter has made me sad about the future. I don't understand this. This isn't how it's supposed to go. What's happening? Like, he was just messaging me like, here's a topic for our next one. And I just, like, started crying on his shoulder. Like, that's how messed up this chapter has me.
Speaking of bookends,
Yeah.
we're going to do the line again.
Uh-huh.
We already did the line, but we're going to do it again because bookends. This is a story about breaking a curse.
Yeah, I mean, from Yasuo's perspective, it is. That's not what Josuke thinks the story's about, I bet.
I don't understand. I don't. Why would it even be about that from Yasuo's perspective? She's not part of the Higashikata family. Why does she care about the curse?
You know what would have made this whole part make a little bit more sense?
What would have made it make more sense?
If Yasuo and Hato were shown to be friends. Or Yasuo and Daya. Because, like, Yasuo doesn't like Joshu. He's like some weird guy. She's like avoiding him.
Oh, you mean like maybe Yasuo should have had more of a connection to the family that's central in this story, instead of being like almost completely separated from it?
Yes.
And it would have made more sense that way?
And in the beginning, Norisuke had Kei Nijimura tell her, you are not welcome in this house. Do not return. Never come near Josuke again. And you thought there was like some reason for that. And then
Yeah, that
wasn't.
never really comes back up, does it?
No, it does. It doesn't. It does not. I said does by accident. It does not. That's very sad. And it's like, just... Chris, let me ask you something.
I feel like that was back when Araki was trying to make Norisuke look suspicious, like he was up to something.
Right.
But then that went nowhere. That
carried on. Well, no, it did go somewhere. The thing is, like, that I have to disagree with, because we get that moment walking towards the Yotsuyu Yagiyama fight where Josuke is like, Norisuke, I have some questions for you. I'm going to ask them now. And Norisuke is like, okay, what's eating you, buddy?
Who talks like this? Who talks like this?
But Norisuke is like friendly about it. He's like, what's eating you, buddy? And then he's like, Josuke starts like saying all this crazy shit, because at this point in the narrative, he has such little information that he's just like, you know, he's like selecting every dialogue option. He's accusing him of having killed Yoshikage Kira. And then Norisuke's like, I did not kill Kira. I was working with Kira. I thought he might have found a way to break the curse and heal the disease, so I needed his information. Norisuke says to him, if I killed Kira, why would I take you into my home? Who is Kira? That doesn't make any sense. Clearly, I am not your enemy, Josuke. I am on your side. So the whole thing.
And then Josuke slams the papers down on the table and says, 28 stab wounds.
28 stab wounds.
But yeah, that's you didn't see the video from Detroit Become Human of that interview?
No, I haven't seen anything from Detroit Become Human. Except the robot lady saying, that is a quote from Martin Luther King. And the black guy playing the game who has the face cam going,
Well, watch it after the podcast. You're gonna get a kick out of it.
Okay, all right. But you know, the thing. Okay, so we were just talking about Norisuke possibly being a menacing force in the story, and that is a thing that, like, I guess you could say didn't really go anywhere. But I feel like I give that one a free pass because, like, it was at least. It at least mattered in the narrative that somebody thought Norisuke was an enemy and then was wrong, you know? But let me ask you this, like, this story, JoJolion, has had so many things in it that are like, oh, what's that? What's the deal with that? We don't know right now.
It's had
I guess we'll just trust the
it's
story
had
to get back to that later.
it's had very little to do with breaking the curse, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've
Like
had
we went on a diversion where Josuke had to deal with this fruit smuggling operation, which was actually like them making magic equivalent exchange medicine for people.
yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how these things even tie together really. Like
And then the walleyes came up, but those just sort of vanished from the story.
yeah, they were gonna didn't Jobin say in chapter like whatever the fuck where he kills his dad that they're gonna take his body into the walleyes and use it to help Sarugi?
I don't. I'm not sure these were words that were actually said. I think this might be like a prediction that you made.
Right. I just know that Jobin looks towards the walleyes out the window and he says words about them. Okay, here we go. I miss Josuke's rock eye. Eye rock.
Also, what does Jojolion mean?
JoJolion.
Because Yasuo says the word twice, like it's a word that means something instead of something that Araki made up.
Have you never read Araki's little explanation for what JoJolion means?
I haven't, no.
Oh, well, let me pull it up then. Shit. Because I don't want to be wrong. He says something like, yes. Author's note. I've got it. So, the Leon in the title JoJolion means blessed thing, or evangelistic, and commemorative seal. It's a word from ancient Greek or something like that. By combining this word with JoJo, I've meant for the title to signify the existence of the protagonist Josuke in this world. So, JoJolion, like Leon, like the Greek or whatever word for like a blessed thing or something like sacred or holy. So Josuke's existence in this world is like blessed or holy. It's a miracle. It's something that should not have occurred.
Yeah, but breaking the curse had nothing to do with Josuke.
Well, we will go there and we'll reinterpret JoJolion as what sort of blessed thing it's talking about there. But I got to finish this. It's also used in the name of the tragic king in a Greek myth called Pygmalion, as well as the Japanese animation Evangelion, but I'm not sure if it has to do with the same idea. So he's like, I'm using Leon, like Evangelion. I don't know if it's in the same way, but look, you know?
Pygmalion was a sculptor who created a statue of a woman
Uh-huh.
and fell in love with it, and then the goddess Aphrodite brought it to life.
Oh, that's
So-
funny. That's funny because rock humans, you know? That's great. That's
Well,
cool.
no, I was trying to think of a connection to Josuke. Yeah, no, nothing's coming to mind to link Josuke to that idea. Like I was trying to pick like exact words so that I would not sound stupid, but then I just ended up sounding stupid.
Well, you know, in a manga like this. Oh, let me finish what I was fucking saying earlier. Okay, I have two things from earlier I gotta finish saying. Number one, Yasuo, like, knows Tsurugi and stuff, right? Like, when she shows up there, she's like, oh, Tsurugi-chan, you know? Like, she's hung out with Tsurugi before. She's played with the youngest member of the family. But, like,
I guess
why?
that's where we're going with.
Why do they know each other? You know, like, Yasuo does not like Joshu, wouldn't want to hang out with him. So, like, why do they know each other? What I'm saying is,
Because
if Yasuo...
because the story needs to happen, Zach.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good enough reason. That's not a good enough reason. But if Yasuo had some sort of, like, friend in the Higashikata house that she was always coming over to hang out with, like Hato or Daya, then it would make more sense that she'd be, like, in good with the family. But the other thing I was going to say was that JoJolion is such a mystery part, especially in that it shows you stuff that makes you think and, like, raises questions, and then it goes, right, but we'll get back to that later. We'll answer that question later. And, you know, this happens in other JoJo parts too, but part 8 is, like, the one where it happens the most. It's this, like, all the time we're seeing stuff that gets left up in the air, and we're just hoping it'll pay off later. Like, we're all believing that as complicated as this part is, as much crazy stuff got set up over the course of this part's run so far, we are all believing that Araki will weave together all of these disparate elements with a master stroke, and it'll all make sense in the end. But, like, what if that master stroke isn't coming, Chris? What if I'm a fool for believing it is, and this is actually just a poorly written story, where things come up and are never mentioned again? Like, I don't know if there's time, even, to cover all of the ground that, like, needs to be in order for everything brought up in the story to be satisfyingly concluded. Like, do you remember...
This has been on my mind, that JoJolion might just be a bad part.
I know, and it's really sad. It's a really sad reality to have to grapple with.
Because there have been bad parts. We know that there are parts that are at least substandard.
Oh yeah? Name 3.
Right? Well, 3.
Although I think that if you said that to, like, a normal person, they would be like, no, fuck you. 3's the best. 3's the shit. 3's like...
3 is hot garbage until they get to Egypt.
Yeah, but I bet if you read the manga, you know...
It'd probably be even worse.
No, I bet it'd be better, because manga moves at the speed of your eyeballs, dude. You know, manga moves at the speed of your brain. You don't have to wait for shitty anime pacing. So part 3 was probably better in manga format, I bet.
Maybe.
Anyway,
part
yeah,
one,
there have been
part
bad
one
parts.
Part 1 wasn't great.
It wasn't great, but I didn't hate it either. I didn't think it was poorly executed.
There wasn't a point of comparison when it came out, so, you know, and it's a pretty important part, but you know, now it's just kind of mediocre compared to the other parts. I'm torn because I'm not sure because I don't enjoy 6, but 5 is one that, like, a lot of people don't really feel is one of the stronger parts.
Well, I mean, let's just forget about that for a moment. And you know, I'm in a horrible place right now where I'm considering, what if that master stroke isn't coming? What if, like, this... Because the thing I was going to finish with is that, like, this part cannot just be setup, payoff, end. You know? We need, like, payoff, end. And I don't feel like that's the way we're going right now, so I'm scared. and I'm disillusioned, and I don't know
I
what to
know,
believe.
I know why. I know why you're scared. It's because like this is possibly the last JoJo part that will ever be written and finished. Um, and you want it to be a strong conclusion to the series that's been ongoing for like 30 years now.
Yeah. Also, if this part sucks, then I chose the wrong bet. I should have just never started reading JoJolion. I should have just stayed where I was after reading part 7, where I fucking... What's that sound? Oh, somebody's using a weed whacker across the street. I thought my computer was making a noise. Sorry. If this part sucks, then I'm a fool for reading it. I should have just stayed where I was, having finished parts 1 through 7, and just assumed that that was JoJo. Like, and that's a heartbreaking reality to even grapple with. Like, you know how I've talked to you before about, like, when somebody tells you something is good, like a series, like a piece of media, and then you're internally deciding whether or not you actually need to engage with it, or if you can skip it. Like, we were talking about this, and I said, Game of Thrones. Like, everybody was going, oh shit, you gotta watch this, this is the best show ever, for like 6 years. And then, all of a sudden, the newest season comes out, and it's like hot trash, and everybody who was watching it all this time is now disappointed and upset and frustrated, and I'm like, boom, knew I didn't have to watch that show, knew it was skippable. Yes, made the right choice.
The good news...
And if JoJolion ends up sucking, I am going to have made the wrong choice. I shouldn't have even read it. I should have just pretended 1 through 7 were the only parts. So I'm going to have to grapple with that I made the wrong call.
The good news is, if JoJolion ends up sucking, and Araki either never starts or never finishes part 9, we will have taken the bullet for future generations and can just, going forward, tell them, no, just stop after part 7.
That was the sippiest sip of coffee ever. But dude, if JoJolion ends up sucking, I think I'm gonna have to, like, get back into writing fan fiction. Because, like, there's no way I can live like this. I'm gonna have to, like, write a better JoJolion. And not even, like, that I can do that, but I'm gonna have to try. Like, I can't, like, I'm already imagining, like, okay, so Ruby. Did you ever watch Ruby? RWBY?
Nope, and never will.
Yeah, because you, like me, saw that a new thing was coming out, and you made an internal judgment on, like, do I need to check that out, or can I skip that? And you chose skip. And that, for Ruby, was the right call. I should have chosen skip as well. But I wasn't able to, because it was made by Monty Ohm, and I really liked Monty, and he was the coolest, so I had to watch his new show. But then he died, and it sucks forever afterwards. But the point of what I'm saying is, just like I did with Game of Thrones, you saw, oh, new thing coming out? Let me internally assess its quality and whether or not I need to engage with it. Oh, nope, no I don't. Pass. So that's like what I do with everything. Every time I get told about a new, cool, dope thing, I think to myself, like, okay, what are some reasons I don't have to consume this piece of media? Like, how can I justify skipping this and not bothering with it? And that's, like, maybe stupid. Maybe I could consume more good things if I didn't do that, but it's to save myself time. And I can't live in the reality where JoJolion was a mistake to read, you know?
It's risk assessment.
It's risk
what
assessment.
What if it's bad?
What if it's bad? So I skipped Game of Thrones, you skipped Ruby. It's the same type of deal. But is it going to be at the end of the day?
Is JoJo just a bad manga?
Is it going to be at the end of the day that we just shouldn't have read this?
Is JoJo just a bad manga?
No, I think it's amazing. I think the art is fantastic. I think you really get a feel for the emotions of the characters moment to moment. I think it's really great. However, we need some time shenanigans or something now, because there's no way to fix this.
Honestly, that's where I was going with this, because there are details if we move forward that don't line up with what we already know has happened
Yeah.
or will happen, right? Because in the flash forward they're having the conversation in an intact house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Norisuke's body is in the study, not outside.
Yeah. So there's several things that are wrong and that are all fucked up and that shouldn't have happened. And it's like there's nothing has been set up so far in this part for time travel to happen. But like that's the only way out.
Well, there are major details that are just wrong.
I know. And it's like what do we
So it's like
fucking
so it's like
what are
and
we to think?
not to the point where like Araki forgot that he did like this. I have to believe that this is intentional. That like those details were wrong on purpose. Joshu's arm, it's just not there anymore.
Yeah. And if like so this is now another we got to look left and we got to look right and we got to decide what we're thinking about the future. Because like if we choose to believe that Araki drew all that stuff for a reason and that there's still resolution coming and that it will all make sense one day, if we choose to believe that and then we're wrong, that's true heartbreak. That's true pain. If we choose to believe that and then we're right, I guess great. Good for us. But like I don't even know, man. Shit's a nightmare. I wonder if there could be any possible way we could rectify this without time travel.
Okay, let's see. Well, hold on. This was 3 hours. Wait a minute. Wasn't that like 3 hours or 3 minutes to the harvest that flash forward happened? There can't be a harvest now.
Chapter 83?
The branch no longer exists.
So you're talking about... Hey, what the fuck? Chapter 71...
I mean, otherwise, we just have to accept that Araki wanted to write this cool scene, but couldn't figure out how to get everyone to their proper positions for the scene.
Yeah. So, the moment when Tsurugi is dragging Norisuke and he's upstairs and his hand has come off fully, that's 13 minutes till the harvest. And then it says these are the events that happened 7 days prior. So,
I think there's going to be probably alternate timeline shenanigans that happen.
there have to be. Otherwise, it's like, what the fuck happened? That's actually what I'm thinking is the purpose of this bit of narration.
Well, we already know Josuke's bubbles are super strings, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that actually that's the purpose of the narration at the end where it says the Higashikata family, the prices they all had to pay were much too high. You could see that in the crying faces of the children or in the body of the eldest son slumped against the wall.
I just had a thought.
What if like they're setting up the price they had to pay was far too much so that like we can run it back and take another crack at it and try and get a better resolution to this story arc with less deaths. Go ahead, Chris.
I just had a thought. So, if Josuke's bubbles are the key to the timeline changing, that because that super strings, right, and quantum mechanics and all that other bullshit that I don't understand. What if Josuke, from the right perspective, is the villain of this story?
Dude, That's something else that Jojo Eliot has been setting up this whole time that we haven't gotten back to. You remember? Oh, by the way, I have. You remember in the Yotsuyu Yagiyama arc? Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, ding-a-ling, ring the bell. We mentioned his name.
I'm too tired to ring the bell.
I need a real bell. I need a real bell in here that I can go bing, bing-a-ling-a-ling, ding-a-ling-ling-ling. Hey, where's my hand piano? Where's that at? Oh, yeah, here. This will be our Yotsuyu Yagiyama noise. Listen, every time we mention him, I will play this note. So that's the Yotsuyu Yagiyama bell from now on. Can you even hear that?
I can barely hear it. It doesn't have like the resonance that you want.
What if I put it on top of the microphone?
Oh, ow. Okay.
That probably sounded horrible. Sorry.
I heard it, but I think it's too deep. I think you need to go with a higher note.
Oh, okay. Here. What if I play this one? Hang on. Here we go. What about this one?
There you go. I think you need to hit it like a lot of times in a row though, so that it's the ding-a-ling-ling.
I need to tune this thing.
It's a little sharp though, so maybe like not right next to the microphone.
Yeah, I just need to get a bell. But the point is, did we mention Yotsuyu Yagiyama last episode? Do you remember?
I think we must have.
I think we must have, because like he's my favorite, and I bring him up all the time because his fight was so important.
I think we'd remember if we hadn't.
But like I was thinking this whole month, holy shit, did we go the whole last episode without mentioning Yotsuyu? So I don't know, maybe we did.
I believe there was one point where we went the whole episode without mentioning Yotsuyu Yagiyama, but it was like right at the end of the episode before we'd stopped recording, so that counted.
Right. But the point is, in the Yotsuyu Yagiyama arc, right at the very end, he says, where is that? Yeah, here we go. So right at the very end, he says, I wish to state this clearly. The one whose actions are correct is Tsurugi Higashikata. That's what he says. I was thinking, actually, that he also said Wu Tomoki's line, which I guess I'll go to that next. But Josuke kills Yotsuyu Yagiyama underwater, and he says, now tell me who I am. And he says, you're just going to be betrayed by the Higashikata family anyhow. The one whose actions are correct is Tsurugi Higashikata. And then he drops a tiny Locacacast out of his pocket, and then it falls to the bottom of the ocean. And then Yotsuyu dies. So, the one whose actions are correct is Tsurugi. And then we go to Wu Tomoki. Once we get there... Wu Tomoki has a line where he says, you and Josuke Higashikata, you are the evil ones. And I want to get to that, because, like, I'm trying to say that they've been setting up the idea that our protagonist Josuke, from a certain perspective, is actually the bad guy of the narrative. For a while, we've been setting that up. And I am going to be pretty upset if we don't get back to that, you know? I'm going to be like, what the hell? What is this? Why'd you bother saying so many times that Josuke was the bad guy in the story if you weren't going to get back to it?
2 hours later.
Oh, okay. Well, it definitely happens. You remember what I'm talking about, right? Where Wu Tomoki says you and Josuke are the evil ones?
No, but let's pretend that I do.
Oh, damn it. I really was hoping you'd say yes so I can get off the hook for having to find it, because I went all the way through the Wu Tomoki fight and I didn't find it.
No. See, that's why I said let's pretend that I do so we can keep moving forward.
Right. I agree with this course of action. Yeah, I'm spending too much time on something that's not even worth it. But Yotsuyu Yagiyama said that Tsurugi's in the right, and Wu Tomiki said that Josuke, you're the evil one. You are the one who's doing things wrong in this narrative. So I want them to go back and expand upon that. You could be right about Josuke being the bad guy. But back to my question of how can this possibly be resolved without time travel? Because I think it'd be a really big deal for like right now a character to develop an ability that like rewinds time. You know, I feel like that'd be pretty big. But I don't know if we have time for that. So, what if nobody develops the time travel ability, but we simply like move over and we just look at another timeline and see how that went? So
We've established that alternate timelines exist in this universe in Part 7, so...
right. What if we get this? This is what I'm thinking is the solution to the flash forward. Check this out. So, you know how in the flash forward we see everybody relaxing around the house, just chilling, and then we get that piece of narration about the shape of one's heart, and then we get the shot of the family portrait, and then we also get the those two nicely subtle shots of the California king bed chess pieces. So, what if like we get some more narration at some point, and then we zoom back in on the California king bed chess pieces, and we get the reveal that like each one of these chess pieces represents a character in the narrative, and like the chess game's going really bad for white right now. You know, like they've lost most of their pieces. So you have the chessboard like rewind a bit, go back a few moves, and then we just see like them play out differently. You wouldn't have to invent a way for time travel to be in the story if you did that. You've already drawn the California king bed chess pieces. What is chess? It's a game of strategy. It's a game of planning. It's a game of minimizing your losses and having a good position. So, you know, I feel like those are all the things we didn't do in this arc. We didn't minimize our losses or have a good position. And now here we are in this terrible board. This terrible position where none of our pieces are developed, all the ones are dead, and yada yada yada.
I mean, Iraqi does have like a precedent for this, where a character will gain, well, their stand will evolve in a way that doesn't necessarily logically follow from what it had before.
Yeah, like Kira, like
we've
explosions, and then time travel. Although, you know what?
Yeah,
Why doesn't Josuke just bite the dust? Why doesn't Josuke just bite the dust?
And also like Act 3 from the same part.
Yes.
Obviously has nothing to do with noise. Yeah, if it serves the purpose of making this story not suck, I can probably overlook Daya gaining the ability to rewind time.
Oh, I wasn't even saying Daya gains the ability to rewind time. I'm just saying...
Well, you were talking about her chess pieces, so...
Right. I'm saying, like, we just use the chess pieces as a metaphor. You know? Like, they don't have the power to do that. They're just the California king bed chess pieces. We just look at them and we go, like... You know, Araki maybe gives us a little bit of narration about, like, strategy and, like, taking losses but going on. I don't know. I'm just thinking about, because he drew those California king bed cheese pieces, what is the purpose of him having drawn them?
Well, also, what triggers stand evolution in JoJo? It's usually traumatic moments, like, you know, your grandma getting stabbed right in front of you.
Yeah, although Dai is the youngest and, like, never met her.
Rather, you're... Yeah, but, like, this kind of sucks shit. Her brother's also dead.
Yes. And, like, I don't think anybody in the Higashikata family, before all this nonsense happened, regarded Joben as, like, a bad guy. You know? I think his siblings liked him and everything was okay. Which is very sad now that he's, like, gone and tried to kill their father and ruined everything. Anyways, so California King bed cheese pieces.
My point is, I think if anybody's going to like develop a time travel stand at this point to like try and like go back to when it was better, it's going to be somebody from the Higashikata family who's been impacted by all this, not Josuke who just showed up.
Right. And I think I can totally agree with you on that one. If something like that were to happen, it wouldn't be Josuke who gets the power to rewind time. Especially because he just fucking got a new power. And unless you can somehow convince me that Go Beyond is able to, like, spin through time, I don't know that this is going to be a Josuke operation.
It fucking could be, for all we know. Remember when Johnny unlocked the infinite spin and that gave him the ability to tear through the walls of reality itself so it could get to Valentine?
Yeah, that was insane. But, like, I ask this again. Why doesn't Josuke just bite the dust? I ask another question. Why does Josuke only ever use soft and wet? Why doesn't he bring out Killer Queen from time to time?
Well...
On the latest episode of the Locacacast, Zack demonstrates a critical misunderstanding of Josuke's stand.
You know how it is.
You already know what the fuck it is. Hey, so, I actually have something kind of interesting to go over. On hiwamatanoboru.com/category/Jojolion, when they brought out Volume 26, they did, like, the volume release for those chapters. There's some there's some translator's notes, and I want to talk about them.
Alright, let's talk about those. I haven't seen them.
I feel like I should mention here that I updated a few lines regarding the invisible spin bubbles from these chapters, because now we know what they actually are. I updated them a bit ago and re-uploaded the magazine versions, but these have those changes too. The issue was when they were first introduced, we didn't have any context, so it wasn't clear if... What is this? Say this. Translate.
その中に
Sononakani. It wasn't clear if sononakani meant inside or among. A lot of lines were said in a way where it was hard to tell if they were clarifying something or introducing a new idea. It's all kind of hard to explain if you don't know Japanese. It wasn't fully clear until like chapter 105 when we got the full explanation. But basically, the end result is there's just two types of bubbles. There's the original ones at Josuke's fingertips, which he can fire, and the invisible ones that defy logic, are just spin, and appear from the mark on his shoulder that he can't control. There's nothing inside them. Mamazuku Rai was saying that the special invisible bubbles are among the other bubbles. They're both made of spinning lines, but for the second type of bubbles, they are just spin, and have no physical cords that are spinning, which the originals have. Anyhow, those bubbles gave me a real headache, and sorry about the confusion. So, like, when it says that the bubbles are spinning with lines that are so infinitely thin that they vanish into nothing, what they mean is Josuke's just shooting bullets of spin now. Like, there's not even any soap bubble element to it with the invisible shoulder one. That's crazy.
I think the invisible bubbles are part of Kira's stand. Because he's the one who would have inherited the idea of a spinning projectile, right?
Yeah, and also Kira in Jojolion, when we see the flashback, we see that, and also Kei describes his stand as being able to create explosive bubbles, like invisible explosive bubbles. And when we see him, he puts that bubble in the motorcycle. It looks like, or he makes the tire of the motorcycle explode with Killer Queen. But it blows up like a bubble. It goes like, and it makes like a big sphere shape inside the tire and then pops. So it's like he has taken the abilities of Stray Cat with him.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the we never actually see him use a projectile. Mm-hmm. He always like puts it physically inside, like Diver Down.
Yes. We never see him like shoot one from a distance, which I wish we did. But like Josuke,
But I believe Go Beyond is supposed to be the bites the dust equivalent for Killer Queen in this universe.
well then Josuke, you better start biting, because as of right now, I don't see that dust getting eaten is going to help us one way or the other. Alright, back to the fucking chapter. The thing I was saying a while ago is that JoJolion can't just be a story where everything cool that gets set up gets abandoned. Like, the entire story cannot be, hang on, the cool stuff's coming, it's right around the corner, just you wait. Like, we have to get somewhere eventually. It can't...
We're at the point where that point where like cool stuff that we've been shown before is happening in parallel with this.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
don't
not seeing it.
We don't understand where that cool stuff went or why it's happening different. So here we go. Oh, so also the mom dies and she sees a picture in her mind of the Higashikata family. How do you feel about that? Did that immediately make you go, what the fuck is this shit? Because it's the picture? Like with Josuke in it? That's missing K, that she's never seen?
The picture canonically doesn't have K and does have Josuke, who she doesn't even know. Does she even know him?
Yeah, she met him when he was at the house, and she just showed up, and she was like, "I'm gonna."
Wow, he must have left a pretty lasting impression for her to be like actually thinking of him while she's dying.
Yeah, I don't know why though.
Yeah, this feels like an intern just like copy pasted the picture just so that she'd have like a picture of her family on her mind as like the last thing she's thinking of.
The head doctor would have been much more powerful if, instead of baiting people into attacking him with words, he just poked them a bunch with his cane. Just like, boom, boom.
Just be annoying.
I'm reading Aeon Star's Twitter, who now I have beef with, and I hate him, and he's a suck asshole. But I'm still reading his Twitter. He blocked me, actually, so now I have to open up a incognito window in order to go and view his Twitter. Well, he's a pussy bitch. Like, he fucking said something stupid, and I called him an idiot, and then he blocked me. So, like, whatever. I feel like I have no regrets. I expressed myself, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, and I take nothing back. But I am scrolling back because he said something about Kato's fucking picture thing. Okay, so this is when Kato's dying and we see the picture. This scene would have been a lot more emotional if Kato's feelings for her family weren't represented by a picture that still has K edited out for some reason. She was not present for when it was taken. She hasn't ever acknowledged or seen. Includes Norisuke, who she hates and still has unfinished business with that will now remain unresolved. Includes Josuke, who she considers a freeloader and not a member of her family. It really encapsulates all the issues with how her character was handled.
When did she say she hates Norisuke?
What? That's her whole fucking character. What are you talking about? In the fucking one where she comes back. She comes back to the house, like, right after Tamaki Domo.
No, Norisuke hates her.
She hates Norisuke, dude. I mean, they hate each other, but she super doesn't like him. He's like some dude who won't support her after she, like, gave up her life for their kids because he doesn't agree with that she killed a child about it.
I mean, it was a while ago. I don't remember that at all. Honestly, it felt like... Honestly, like, I remember it just being like, she just wants to be with her family, and, like, he's like, I don't want anything to do with you. You killed a kid.
Where the fuck is... Oh, it's right here, then? Yeah, walking heart, breaking heart. Okay, so that's this right here. And then Kato shows up now? Or no? No, yeah, it already happened. It already happened. Okay, so Kato gets out of jail. She gets the ring that says N to C. Which is like, we still know people should stop spelling her fucking name with a K. No, don't tell them. I want to surprise Norisuke. I don't have any regrets, but I'm going to take back the life that I lost. Oh, she throws away her wedding ring. It says N to C. I actually forgot she throws it away.
Well, in that case then.
Wait, was that the fucking end of that? Like, when does she show up at the house now?
Like 20 chapters from then? I don't know.
The events 2 weeks before Kato Higashikata returned to the house. But, like, I haven't seen her return to the house yet. Is it after Milagro Man?
Might have been.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. Where they come back and they just see her sitting on the couch. Yeah, she's sitting on the couch. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? Daya. Oh yeah, there's been a strange woman sitting on our couch for a while now. So Norisuke doesn't like her. Da 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 da. So you're Joshu? That's a weird hairstyle. Does your hair grow on the sides of your head? Must be because you never drank your milk. My, everyone in this family is so shy. Were you told I'd gone missing, or perhaps that I died? Dear, how could you? What do you think you're doing in front of the family like this? Kato, why did you come here?
When you put it like this, it sounds more passive-aggressive than anything.
Well, she then screams at him, how could you even ask that? Shouldn't it be obvious I'd at least want to see my kids? I gave birth to every one of them, and I didn't do anything wrong. Back then, I swear on the souls of my ancestors that I did the right thing. But you abandoned me, put me in jail, and divorced me. I'm gonna get compensated after all that.
Oh, okay.
These 15 years of success of the Higashikata Fruit Parlor are thanks to me, too. He may have divorced me while I was in jail, but I'm going to be compensated. With money, because I'm taking my life back. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been worth it. So maybe she doesn't, like, hate him. Maybe if she had come out of prison and he had given her, like, a warm welcome, everything would have been fine. But she definitely feels wronged and like he owes her and like he's done the wrong thing. Anyway, well, she doesn't like him. She's not a huge fan. We'll leave it at that. But let's just go over the other four then.
But back to the picture though. I feel like this is like Araki didn't want to redraw the most important family members to her for this, so he just copy pasted.
Yeah, so it still has Kay edited out for some reason. She was not present for when it was taken. She hasn't ever seen the photo or acknowledged it on screen, and it includes Josuke, who she considers a freeloader and not a member of her family.
It doesn't have K because he needed a version with Mitsuba's current design.
What's that?
It doesn't have K because he needed a version with Mitsuba's current design.
Oh, yeah, yes. Man. Oh, hey, do you want to talk about that thing where that one manga author said that, like, JoJolion could be ending?
I didn't see this, but, yeah, sure, let's talk about that.
So, Rokutya, who is the guy who writes Attack on Titan, I think? Rokutya. I wrote Kokutya. Rokutya. Oh, no, it's Ryokutya. Alright.
Are you just sending it to me, or?
Ryokutya. No, I'm trying to find the original source, but I actually can't find it. It's been posted on the Attack on Titan wiki. No, Ryokutya 87 is like a guy. Whatever, man. Anyway, so he said, damn, JoJolion seems like it could be ending next issue. And everyone went, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Because this guy, like, read the chapter early. He was speculating based on the content of this chapter. He doesn't actually have any insider info. He doesn't know that, like, this is the second to last chapter of JoJolion.
This guy probably hasn't, like, been keeping up with JoJolion, because, like, if it ends next chapter...
Worst part.
Then it's a bad story.
Worst part. And I'm going to take back everything positive I said. But yeah, so there was a lot of talk on the internet about like, oh no, JoJolion, please don't end like this. Don't end so soon. And it's like everyone's buying into just some random guy speculating, you know? Like
I'm guessing a lot of these people were like the same people who were like, God, when is JoJolion gonna end already?
So we can get to part 9. I fucking hate those people. It's like you have a fucking a steak dinner in front of you, and you're like, dude, when can we go get ice cream? Like, fuck you. Oh. Alright, well, I found this in my journeys, in my travels.
The reason I oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. I gotta show that to the people back home.
Okay. Well, while they're looking at that, I'm just gonna go back to what you were saying about the other.
I thought you were gonna go. I'm just gonna just delete it.
No, I'm just gonna leave. No,
I'm just gonna.
But what you were saying about the other, like I was saying that the other manga artist probably hasn't been reading JoJolion actually, because like taken out of context. This chapter does seem like the conclusion of a story.
Right.
But in context, we know that there are still plot holes that you could drive a truck through that need to be fixed.
Yeah, like on Aeon Star's Twitter, post the picture of Kato saying, I don't have any regrets. But that's because I'm going to take back the life that I lost. And he's like, top 10 lies. You know what's your problem, Kato Higashikata? Lack of effort. Could have tried harder, you know? Could have tried harder. Spent way too much time just relaxing in that hammock.
Oh, yeah, by the way, we kind of glossed over it, but like, I love how her actions weren't an attack until they were.
Yeah, that's something that's like, I can't anymore. I'm not even interested in thinking about that. It's so...
Because I guess Toru just decides the rules now.
I mean, since when hasn't he?
Yeah, but especially now. The alternative is this was always an attack, but Toru's just like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it yet.
Oh, how do you feel about? I'm not feeling it yet. I'll let a better attack come across my desk before I activate the ability. How do you feel about? Because I mean, I've always felt on this podcast like my job is to regurgitate to you all of the interesting JoJo stuff I saw throughout the week, and then try and get like an interesting conversation out of it. See what your opinion is on various shit. But this in practice just means like I'm going onto the JoJo Twitter accounts that I follow and just stealing all their tweets and reading them on the podcast. But this is okay for 2 reasons. Number 1, we have no viewers. And number 2, I now hate Aeon Star and think he's a dickhead. So I'm happy to steal his tweets. Fuck him.
All right.
It's not that big a deal, but it's a shame that JoJolion's climactic arc didn't take place in a special set piece unique to the fight. We'd already spent so much time at the Higashikata State and TG University Hospital prior to the Wonder of You arc. Dio's castle, the plane/volcano, the nighttime rooftops of Cairo, the Colosseum, Cape Canaveral, and New Jersey were all such great set pieces that contributed so much to their respective fights. Part 4's was meh, but it felt necessary for the scenario. JoJolion being a fight against one character in 2 different locations is pretty cool, but I wish one of those locations was new. Maybe have Josuke wait for Akifu at the stadium or a shrine or something instead. But that presents other issues, so maybe it had to be this way.
It's almost like the location that we spent most of the story in is probably the best place to, like, end the story.
No, but dude, think about this. You remember how much, how there's been like a little bit of build-up? I was about to say, remember how much build-up there's been for the stadium? But no, there's been like a tiny little bit. But wouldn't it be cool if the final fight...
What fucking stadium?
The Saiten Birdies Stadium in Morio, where Joe Bin goes with his father when he's a kid to watch that baseball game, and the Rock Humans are sitting next to him, and they offer him a bottle of wine. That's like when the fucking Rock Humans first start working with Jobin.
Right.
And Jobin's wearing
all that build-up of one flashback.
I know. I changed what I said from all of that build-up to, do you remember the tiny bit of build-up? I had to adjust. But that's when...
Oh, I thought this was something that Aeon Star was saying that you were taking the piss out of. I didn't realize that this was a Zack original.
Well, I mean, it is an Aeon Star thing, but it's not on my screen right now. He tweeted this months ago, where he was like, yo, can we get the final fight in JoJolion at the Saiten Birdies Stadium, please? Like, that would be fucking sick. Imagine that. Like, that location's been mentioned a couple times, and yet we've never, like, had an arc take place there. That's pretty much what he's saying. And I kind of agree. That'd be cool if we got to go back there. But, like, I'm thinking about young Jobin, and he's wearing the cute baseball cap. I remember that location, but nothing significant happened there, Like...
I guess, although, like, all the characters who were associated with that location are now dead, except Norisuke, who's now alive for some reason.
But, I mean, it doesn't even need to have a... I mean, it's just cool. Imagine a stand battle inside of a baseball stadium.
I'm just saying, I think the setting of your fights should probably have something to do with, like, the motivations of the characters who are fighting.
Yeah, have some reason to go there. You're right. That's why we haven't gone there yet. Hey, check this out. This made me fucking sad. This is somebody posting JoJolion ending if Josuke sacrificed himself for an exchange with Holly. Read this little comment.
Oh, damn. That would at least be interesting.
I mean, it would be sad, and it would break my heart. See Yasuo visiting Josuke's grave. Like, Josuke's got a Joestar Jizo now, just like Johnny. But it would be really good. It'd be really touching. Alright, putting the image back up. Let's keep mining this douchebag's Twitter for content. He said, I was planning on making a video going over what I predicted wrong/right, but then I realized it'd just be an hour of, okay, that was wrong. That was also wrong. That was wrong, but it would have been sick. That one was right. Fuck you. I don't know what I was thinking on this one. It would just be a whole hour-long video of that. And I think that's funny. That's like exactly like me if I went to go do like a recap of Locacacast.
What kind of asshole would make an hour-long video about how they were wrong about everything?
But, hey, have you ever heard that joke? 2 drums and a cymbal fall off a cliff? But, Thanks. So, scrolling. Depending on the pacing, we could learn what the deal is with the Flashback Man on the 10-year anniversary of his first and only appearance. Because the man from Josuke's Memories, he first appeared in the October 2011 issue.
Fuck my life.
The 10-year anniversary.
Just fuck it. Just
fuck it. Oh, this is an interesting point. Main villain.
I can't stress how.
Sorry, go.
I can't stress how not excited I am for Part 9 because of how long Part 8's been going on.
I know, and like all I will want out of Part 9 is answers to my lingering questions from Part 8. So why don't you just not make a Part 9? You just make Part 8 Part 2.
Just make Part 8 good.
Just make Part 8 again, but good.
Just make Part 8 end good.
Imagine if
I asked
Araki was
nothing
like,
else.
imagine if Araki like finished part 8 and then instead of starting part 9, he was like, no, we're just gonna do JoJolion again.
We're just gonna start it over again. Maybe take like 20 years this time.
Yeah, I mean it was so good the last time. Don't you guys want to do it all over again? All right, so check it out. This is something kind of interesting that he has to say. Main villain stands in the original world were themed around manipulating time. In the new world, it seems the theme is not manipulating space, but rather natural laws. Parallel worlds and calamity are already forces that exist in the world, and D4C/Wonder of You utilize them. Either that, or it's
statement.
either that, or it's just specifically misfortune, which both D4C under Love Train's Karmic Redirection and Wonder of You's Calamities work under.
I would agree with that statement, but it also ties into like how we thought that it might be possible for him to wrap this up in a way that makes things make sense, is to like make Josuke not Josuke, but like somebody's gonna have to either fuck with time or fuck with alternate timelines or something.
Something. I mean, imagine if fucking... No, I mean, the thing is, like, it's been like 100 years since the previous part. So, like, none of those characters have any relevance to what's going on now.
God, could you imagine if like they just fucking Rise of Skywalkered us and said Valentine was behind it all?
Yeah. Yeah, I could. I literally could, and I wouldn't even be mad. Like, if Kato's maiden name turned out to be Valentine.
Oh man, I was joking, Zach.
The
Why do
main...
you have to make me think this could be real?
Well, she's got the hair curls, don't she? She's got the circles.
I guess she does.
The main villains themselves may also be based on performers who utilize misdirection. Funny Valentine is a stage magician, and Toru is a matador. I never thought of Toru as a matador.
Nor I.
Look at this tweet. How do I copy the link? There we go.
He does kind of look like one now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, look at this. I'll put it up screen for the audience so they can see it as well, but Funny Valentine is a stage magician, pulls a rabbit out of a hat. That's why D4C has big rabbit ears. And then Toru's a matador.
I think we already knew about the Funny Valentine connection.
Yes.
But yeah, no, this Toru actually does look like a matador.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one more thing from this guy. I feel like you remember this crackpot theory that Dolomite was going to come back into the story and be relevant?
Yeah.
Because, like, he's one of the only antagonists that's alive still, you know? Like, he survived his fight, and he's just living at the pond still, chilling. I feel like Josuke convincing Dolomite to use Blue Hawaii on him would have unironically been a better plan than baiting a Kefu into a room filled with bubbles. And I can't disagree.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna need some elaboration on that.
Right, so people were saying, how is Josuke going to defeat the head doctor? And before it became clear that Kei Nijimura was going to help out, people were theorizing like, ooh, what if this character came to help? What if this character? What if Dolomite? Because, like, they left him alive. His stand could be useful in this situation. What if they, like, bait the head doctor into getting hit with Blue Hawaii? You know? So this is the idea that, like, wouldn't that have been a cool crackpot course of action? Josuke goes to Dolomite and intentionally infects himself with Blue Hawaii so that he can pass it on. And that's an absolute crackpot wild thing to suggest should happen. But I feel like that literally would have been a better plan than just filling the room with bubbles.
I feel like, due to the nature of Wonder of You, Dolomite would have just died in the process of attempting this. because of because remember, it's not Josuke going to attack the head doctor. Josuke is the attack
Yeah.
when he's possessed by Blue Hawaii.
Yeah, so I was scrolling down through the comments and somebody says, "Wonder if you would have just registered it as an attack from Dolomiti and killed him." And like I saw that comment right as you said that. Yeah, man.
It was a good idea though. I could see them trying that, but it would have been a good way to, like, you know, dispose of Dolomiti now that he's no longer relevant to the story.
Yeah. Somebody said, "Well, what way could Josuke have better prepared for the head doctor fight?" And this guy, Grand Gorilla, says, "I mean, Jotaro hid books under his shirt and hat just in case. I think it's clear who's smarter here." Like, that's a good point. Jotaro was just standing next to a bookstore for a few seconds, like, in between moments in the Dio fight, and he was just like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'll just build myself some armor real quick." That's awesome.
Man, it's too bad. It's too bad this universe's Kira doesn't have like the Killer Queen of Part 4's Kira. The head doctor goes to touch the knob. Oh, look, it's like Killer Queen already touched that knob.
Yeah. I wonder if
Would that work? Because, I mean, Killer Queen kills you instantly.
yeah, if you get directly hit. Like, if you're the one who triggers the bomb, you die. If he, like, throws a thing at you and it explodes, you'll take big damage. But if you're the one who, like, touches the thing that's already been made into a bomb, you just die. So, yeah, I don't know. That could be, that could have worked. But I don't fucking know.
But that's not how Killer Queen works in this universe, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Aeon Star says, "If Araki really wants to fuck me up, he can still retcon Gappy to be Josuke's savior. Luckily, that will never happen." And then people are saying, "Do not jinx it." You know, like, what if the very end of
Sorry,
this part...
Josuke or Josefumi?
Josuke. What if the very end of this part,
shit.
Gappy takes off his hat and he's got a pompadour, and he, like, puts on a purple jacket, and then he, like, saves a car in the snow, and then just, like, falls over
Right.
dead. You know, like, that's the finale. And it's revealed that, like, Morio and alternate Morio were never different.
Hey, do you remember when Valentine had Love Train, and like all of Johnny's finger bullets were getting shot off to different places all over?
Yes.
Because he couldn't land a hit on him.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if I told you this, but I always thought it would be cool if, and like this was, and in hindsight this would probably have been like not cool, but I always thought it would be cool if like one of his finger bullets ended up going to the main timeline and causing the carriage accident
Oh
that
my God.
killed Jonathan's mother.
That's like that's right in between. I can't decide if that's too much and that's stupid or if that's like genius. That's fucking amazing. I don't know if that's too much or just enough, just the right amount. I think that'd be great. I feel like that's like a classic I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know a story that I like has done that before, where like at the very end they have to like do some time shenanigans in order to create the event that starts the story, even though it was a tragedy. And like they thought they wanted to get rid of it. Isn't that oh my god. Oh my god. It's not the exact same thing, but at the end of Joker, where the riot that Arthur has started by killing Murray Franklin on the show gets Batman's parents killed. That's like violence and chaos accidentally like causing the fucking thing. That's where it's similar.
It's the time travel free variation.
Yes, yes. Oh, let's see if you like this. Rai, and I don't know why he calls him Rai. Mamazuku Mamazuku could have been... Oh, because this is Aeon Star saying, like, what really bugs me about the rock humans is the insistence that they're fated to be parasites on society. Why are they evil? Because they were born evil is never really a satisfying explanation for how your antagonists behave. We desperately needed an example of a rock human that defied their nature and lived as a normal person. At least one. They didn't even need to be important. They just had to show that the rock cartel members were making a choice in succumbing to their nature. So he says this, and then after that, because he's like, why didn't we get at least one not evil rock human, just for contrast's sake? Because then it would make, like, the evil ones...
We do need just one.
Yeah, we do. We do. You agree with me on that. I agree with Aeon Star, even. But check this out. He says this, Mamazuku could have easily been written as a rock human with minimal changes to the story, and it would have made his presence much more poignant. He's already completely isolated, and he doesn't need to be blood-related to his family for his backstory to work. It would have made his standoffish and selfish personality during his interaction be a really cool reflection of his nature. Imagine how much more impactful this friendship with Josuke and his respect for Norisuke would have been if he developed it in spite of his nature. There's so much missed opportunity with the rock humans. Establishing rules for the nature of your fictional species is so much more interesting when you have exceptions to those rules, because that's how humans are. We're constantly breaking away from our upbringing and our natures. So I think that would actually be really cool if Mamazuku was a rock human. I feel like I kind of fully hard agree on this.
Write that down just in case you need to make your remake of JoJolion.
Oh,
later.
right. Okay. Mamazuku rock. All right, I just wrote down Mamazuku rock. That's good enough for me.
Got it. Cool.
But yeah, you know, like a dude who lives on a fucking abandoned ski chairlift, like that's rock human behavior.
Excuse me 1 second, I just gotta let my cat in.
Sure.
I can still hear you, by the way.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You coming in? I'm sure.
Araki came up with the idea for JoJolion in 2011, following the devastating earthquake and tsunami in Japan that destroyed his ancestral home. The idea behind calamity and how bad things happen to good people, but still hope prevails, was undoubtedly inspired by these events. And I was thinking about that just the other day when I realized that the real-life Tohoku earthquakes and tsunamis happened in April 2011, and then JoJolion came out in May. So, like, it was fresh on his mind. That's why he wrote the walleyes, that's why everything.
Yeah.
Bad things happen to good people, but still hope prevails. So maybe we won't get a second shot at this.
We can bring it back to the chapter now, because after Kato dies, we have Yasuho talking about how the prices they had to pay and the sacrifices they had to make were too large and cruel. And
Chris,
it's not despair. To me, it looks like hope.
This right here, we opened the podcast talking about Yasuo saying JoJolion and her narration, and we're going to close the podcast talking about that. We're going to bookend this episode with the bookends.
Yeah, except we're not going to close it, because after that we still got to deal with Norisuke and the revelation that he's still alive, and the head doctor still being alive for some reason until he's not.
Yeah. I just wanted to be clever. We're bookending with the bookendings.
We're kind of bookending.
JoJo Leon.
Just like Iraqi's kind of bookending, because obviously this isn't going to be the last chapter. I mean, that would be terrible.
Yeah. But, hey, the one thing right now that's giving me hope, that lets me go on, that keeps me going, somebody said on Twitter, and I think it was Grand Gorilla, I think it was that same guy from earlier, he said, no, don't get ahead of yourselves here, everyone. Remember, Part 7 didn't end when Johnny learned how to walk again. And that's very true. I hold on to that. That's my last piece of hope in this world. That, like, part 8 opens with Yasuo talking about breaking the curse. But hopefully this is not like an actual bookend. This isn't the real ending, Like, I can't deal with the reality where JoJolion just ends like this. And maybe I'm in the same mindset as the characters. Maybe everybody else is looking around at the destruction and the sadness and being like, oh, fuck. So maybe Araki's putting me here in this emotional state on purpose. Because I feel like I match exactly what the narration is saying. Their sacrifices, like, that they had to pay were far too large. This is a bad ending. Chris, this is like when you play through a game and you don't get all the collectibles, so you get the bad ending.
Yeah. Feels like they're gonna do a little rewind and say like, oh, maybe we could have done something different.
I hope so, man. I really do. Otherwise, I can't see how this part's gonna end good at all.
This would have been a really interesting flash forward though to see as well. Like, you just take specific panels, right? You take Jobin's hand on the floor here in the panel that says "and cruel," just so you can't see who it is. You take the smashed pot of the plant, right? And you take these playing cards scattered on the floor, right? You could have done a really interesting flash forward to this moment in this timeline.
Imagine how intrigued
without giving anything away.
Imagine how intrigued we would have been. We would have been like, oh my god, somebody dies. Kato's back because her cards are here. Holy shit. Yeah. There are things that exist in this world that the eyes cannot see. In JoJolion, that is the shape of a person's heart. So they're still setting up for somebody to have a change in the shape of their heart. The Gachikata state that was destroyed by the broken off part of a plane, to me it looked like hope. The family all acted in the name of hope. After having fallen down in the hallway because of the calamity, after everything had ended, the members of the Gachikata family moved further into the back of the garage. That was all for the sake of hope. In the smooth, shiny skin of the eldest son's cheek, the hope of the Higashikata family was visible. Because at that moment, the curse was broken. And then we open up Norisuke's body bag and he's alive. He's savable. That's fucking ridiculous. He's been dead for an hour.
Yeah, well, Araki kept telling us over and over again that he's not Jobin is.
I can't believe he wasn't lying.
We just weren't listening.
I was listening, but I was betting that he was lying to me, and I just can't believe he wasn't.
I guess that'll...
Sorry, go ahead.
Guess that'll teach us.
Yep. Listen to everything Araki-san says. So
see, and that's how he gets us, because then he's gonna lie, and we're gonna believe it, and then it's gonna turn out to be a lie. And he's like, I gotcha. He's like, fuck you, Araki.
I don't know if that's fuck you or if that's thank you for having more turns to the story than I was expecting.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. Alright, but this is fuck you Araki right here because this makes no sense. The head doctor is still alive and it crawls into Norisuke's body bag. And it has no head now. So what the hell?
Yeah,
what's going on?
For some reason.
But then that's kind of an interesting, then 2 pages after that, we get, the body is getting head doctored and he's seizing around on the ground. And then it says, the form of the head doctor is calamity energy, a natural law of calamity. Even without a user to control it, will the head doctor still not disappear? The calamity is still going.
Yeah, it looked like they were going somewhere interesting with that, where it's sometimes killing the bad guy doesn't solve the problem.
Or rather, the laws of calamity are just things that exist in this world that can never go away. And Wonder of You was just an ability that allowed Toru to use it for his own ends. If that's true, what was just said there in the speculative narration, that's insane. That wasn't Toru's stand then. That was like the stand. It's like Gyro. Like it wasn't Gyro's stand. That was the stand of Calamity itself.
But then Josuke shows up and solves the problem anyway.
Yep. Very next page. So that's my third. That's my third prediction that was wrong. 3 strikes, you're out. He didn't meet Carrera. He didn't fucking do this. He didn't fucking do that. He just got here in like seconds. Like it took Yasuo 17 hours to get from the hospital to the Higashikata estate, and she had a car.
And it's like
She had Toru driver.
We had the potential for like something really interesting to happen with the head doctor now that Toru was gone and no longer controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, we're just not going to do that.
Yeah, and also like I feel like this is like a cool thing, but it's also like, wait, since when can you just punch the bubble in whatever direction you want it to go? When did you learn you could do that? You know, it seems like it just comes out of nowhere. The next one, he goes, go beyond, and he auras the shot in the right direction, but that seems so unearned.
This is like, what if Notorious Big was 1 page long and Giorno just punched it to death?
Jordo channeling his what is Jotaro to Giorno? Because Giorno's the son of...
He is...
So Joseph is Jotaro's grandfather. So George the second would be Jotaro's great-great-grandfather.
Jonathan is the...
Wait. George the second is the son of Jonathan, just like Giorno.
Yeah.
So if Joseph is Jotaro's grandfather, and George the second, the son of Jonathan, is his great-grandfather, then Jotaro and Giorno, because Jotaro is like a descendant.
His great-great-uncle.
Well, I don't
Yes?
know. Could you call them brothers? I think Jonathan and Dio are just one and the same at this point. He's just a son of Jonathan. So, like, he's Jotaro's great-great-grandfather. Just like, you know.
Well, no.
Or no, he's not his grandfather. No, you're right. It is his uncle because it would be his father's...
Great-uncle?
Yeah.
Is that enough greats?
No, I think it would just be 2 greats because... Or no, it would just be 1 great, actually. It would be his great-grandfather because Jotaro's great-grandfather is George II, son of Jonathan.
No. I'm talking about greats for the uncle part.
The amount of greats doesn't change. We're still the right number of greats.
Great-uncle.
Wait. His great-great-uncle would be fucking...
It would be the brother of his great-grandfather, right?
You don't add an extra great. We're not moving anywhere in the amount of distance in time from the present. You know, you'd add another great if you were talking about, like, George the First.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You're talking about different generations.
No, I'm not. Jonathan's son, George II, and Jonathan's son, Giorno, are brothers. So they're in the same generation. They're right there sitting next to each other on the family tree. So to get
I thought you were talking about the relation. You're talking about the relation between Giorno and Jotaro, though, I thought.
Yes. I'm saying that Giorno's the same distance away from George II, Giorno's the same distance away from Jotaro as George II is. So it'd be his great uncle.
I don't think that's enough greats. I think you need 1 more.
But if it was his father's brother...
No. Because Jotaro's grandfather is Joseph. His great-grandfather is George II.
Right, so 1 great.
So his great-great-uncle...
That's too many greats.
Would be... No, because a regular uncle is the brother of your father.
Mm-hmm.
A great-uncle is the brother of your grandfather. So a great-great-uncle would be the brother of your great-grandfather. It's just 1 less great than whatever generation grandfather we're talking about.
Is that true?
Think so. I think
So, like me,
unless I counted wrong.
my uncle Daniel. So then, like, if
Same generation as your parents.
yes. If my grandparents do have siblings, but I've never met them. So if I met, like, my granddad's brother or sister, that'd be my great uncle.
Your great uncle or aunt. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's great great uncle. I cannot believe I fought you so hard on that, and then it turned out that I was wrong. My bad. But let it never be said that I will be wrong and then try and sweep under the rug that I'm wrong. I'll just tell you. Alright, so Giorno's great great grandson? No, his great great nephew is Jotaro. So,
Yeah.
if Giorno were to just punch Notorious Big to pieces in one page, he would be channeling his great great nephew Jotaro. Okay, great. That was an extraordinarily long amount of time spent on nothing important at all. The great grandfather debate of JoJo of the Locacacast.
It's the opposite of what this should have been when Josuke showed up to deal with the head doctor.
Yeah, and then he just shoots the bullet, and then the head doctor just sort of like explodes out and dies. Like, I don't know that was necessary at fucking all.
This was not enough time spent on what should have been something really important.
Yeah, like, this arc has been going on for so long, and then all of a sudden it seemed like the pace, the amount of ground that we're covering fucking just like...
Kind of feels like... It kind of feels like the editors might have told him to hurry it the fuck up.
Oh, man, I hope not. I really hope not.
That makes me very nervous when the editors get involved.
I hope that he's been doing this for long enough that, like, that's not going to be a thing that truly blows him far off course, you know? If the editors are interfering, I hope he can say to them, no, look, guys, I got this under control. Or I hope that whatever interference they're giving him, he can take that in stride and still make a good story regardless. I think he's been doing this for long enough. I don't think we got to worry about that.
Right, but the thing that makes me nervous is like you said, this arc has been going on for so long that to just have it come to such an abrupt stop is jarring.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't... This is just like... This whole thing... This is not where we were supposed to go. You know? Like, Kato's dead. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next chapter. Like, this is the first time in JoJolion that I am scared for the future. Like, I'm not confident that it's all open road and green pastures and 100 proof liquor from here on out. You know? Like, that's how I've been feeling every previous chapter. Like, excited to see what happens next. Stoked. But this time I'm like, oh shit. I don't agree with what we're doing or where we're going or why. Like, I can't vibe with it. Also, why does the head doctor not have his head when he goes into Norisuke, and then when he gets destroyed by Josuke, he has his head again?
Oh, that's because Araki made a mistake.
Well, can we at least talk about the one thing in this chapter that I did feel was, like, universally good, had absolutely nothing wrong with it, and was perfect?
Absolutely, yes. Please, let's do that. Let's end on a good note.
That final panel of Josuke and Yasuo, where Yasuo is leaning on his shoulder.
Yeah,
That's a
good.
great panel. That fills me with, like, you know, like, at least we got here.
You might say iconic. I feel like this is going to be one of the all-time, like, great panels that, like, he calls back to in later parts, if there are later parts.
Right, like, up there with, also from this part, when he rips the bandages off, and he just got the face rocks, and he says, I'll save you, I swear it. That's, like, an immediately iconic JoJolian moment just like this is. And especially it hits really hard because they haven't seen each other since fucking... How long has it been? When's the last time they saw each other, do you think?
This would have to be like the when they were at TG University and they were trying to they were trying to find the no, this would have been like immediately after the Dr. Wu fight, right?
Just about. Yeah, so the last time Josuke and Yasuo saw each other is when they were arguing right outside of the hospital about how you can't find Satoru Ukefu's face. And he's like, don't do anything, you should have waited for us. Mamazuku's like mad at...
Oh no, that's more recent than I thought, actually.
Well, this is right after Wu Tomiki, essentially. Like, the thing
I thought they left the hospital and came back for some reason.
Oh, they did, because they're now investigating the other doctors, including Satoru Ukefu. So they go back to the hospital.
They sure go back and forth between the hospital a lot in this story.
Yeah. Anyway, they go back to investigate, and then they are all running around inside the hospital.
Right, and then he uses the bubbles to float her up over a car that's about to hit her.
Right. And then
she runs into her old boyfriend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I know the head doctor."
That happened slightly earlier in this chapter. The thing gets them separated is that guy, Josuke, defends against that guy, and then his neck is instantly
he accidentally snapped his neck.
Oh, no, you're right. Then Toru shows up right there at the end, and he's like, the guy with the cigarette approached Josuke, then he went and fell over on his own. Really? You'll testify?
I seem to recall that, like the photo of the head doctor's face was like the stinger for the end of a chapter.
Yeah,
I think it might have been this chapter.
That was the one. That's a little bit later. That's like right before. Well, Ojiro actually happens right after that. Can you believe that like the head doctor arc stopped, let Ojiro happen for 2 chapters, and then just fucking started right back up again?
How considerate.
Also, funny tweet from Aeon Star a while ago. He posted, "Hey Rocky, quick question. What the fuck is your problem?" And it had a picture of Ojiro, Kei, and Kato. Why do you keep bringing people back just to kill him? Like, this has happened 3 times now. That, like, chapter 1, character is reintroduced. Fuck yeah, they're back, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 2, dead.
Kind of feels... And I don't want to say this with, like, any degree of, like, actual certainty, because I know he probably has a plan for this story.
He better.
Right?
He fucking better. Otherwise, I am a fool who has wasted my life. Do you realize that, like, those are the stakes? If Jojolian ends up sucking, then I am an idiot who has wasted my life.
Oh, you and me both. Like 10 years.
Yeah.
I
can't stomach that. I can't live in that reality. Like, I'm gonna kill myself if Jojolian doesn't end up good. The final episode of Jojolian podcast review, you and me, I have said many times that we'll do it in person, like on camera, and we'll do like an IRL episode, like as a celebratory final one, and I'll be wearing Josuke cosplay. I'll be wearing the sailor uniform. But
okay, well, please don't kill yourself while I'm in the room.
Oh no,
okay?
I mean, I'll give you like a 2-minute warning.
Okay, no. I mean, like, you need to get out of my house and go kill yourself somewhere else.
Oh, I was hoping you would leave the room. What if I go in the bathtub?
No, absolutely do not kill yourself in my house.
What if I go in the bathtub and I don't kill myself, but I use vitamin C on myself in order to make myself slippery and just flush myself right down the toilet?
Okay, you can do that.
Because then I will just have escaped having a human form, and I can just be liquid for the rest of my life. Imagine if somebody who had vitamin C was, like, enormously depressed, and they were like, oh, I guess I'll just turn myself into liquid and just flow into the sewers. and then they just live down there forever as like 10,000 particles of water in a thing that's like billions and trillions of particles of water. That's like
Honestly, that sounds JoJo as hell.
I know, that's like Cars Stopped Thinking. That's like whatever, man. I'll just melt myself and become water. Like that's hard actually. Anyway, no, dude, I think I'm not going to kill myself. I think I'm just going to die from sheer sadness. I think I'm just going to keel over. I'm just going to have a heart attack.
But what I was going to say was, what was I going to say?
Oh, what I was going to say was the final episode, the live episode, I will be shooting myself in the head on camera while in the Josuke cosplay. But it already got a little dark, and we already did enough jokes about that, so that's enough.
I was saying something before though. Right. About how Iraqi planned this part.
Yes.
I don't know if Iraqi actually had exits planned for these characters. So I think like what he's doing now is like he's remembering that there are characters that he brought up earlier that haven't really done anything significant in a while, and he needs to get them out of the story. But he's not realizing he could just keep them out of the story.
Well, would that be worse or better?
I think it'd probably be better than bringing them back just to die.
I really can't decide if that would be worse or better, because on the one hand, then the part ends with like, yeah, well, what about Kay? She's Josuke's sister. Why did she never get reintroduced into the part? Like, she wasn't important? Are you kidding me? What about this? What about that?
No, see.
Nobody would have been saying, "What about Ojiro?" Though. Nobody.
Now see, that's where he does the "Where Are They Now" epilogue, where he just says that Kei Nijimura got stabbed in a parking lot.
Yeah, the child would later die of a cold.
That's still the worst one. The
No,
entire
that's the
crux
best one.
of the entire crux of Gyro's arc in the story.
Dude, I don't know. Do you like movies? Do you like westerns? Do you like old western movies?
I have seen a few old western movies.
Have you seen The Treasure of the Sierra Madre with
Not
Humphrey
that one.
Bogart? Well, you know who Humphrey Bogart is. He was the main guy in Casablanca. Have you seen that?
Yeah. No, I haven't, but I have heard of him.
Yeah. So Humphrey Bogart is this suave, like, clean-shaven, he's like James Bondy. He's, like, classy. He's a great actor. Whatever. So in this film, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, the movie opens and he's like a bum. Like, he's like a 1930s bum. So he has like a leather coat and like a hat, but they're like ratty and shitty, and he's fucking like walking around like, hey, can you spare a fellow American a dime for a meal? And he's just going around like begging. And so Humphrey Bogart, this like suave cool guy, is playing this like shitty dirty bum character, and he offers a cigarette to a guy next to him on the bench, and the guy's like, oh, I'm down on my luck too. We could go hunting for gold. And he's like, I don't know shit about gold. And they run into an old man who used to be a prospector. So the three of them, Humphrey Bogart, the old prospector man, and the dude who he randomly met and offered a cigarette to and became his best friend, they all go prospecting together. And they find gold. They succeed. And then they set up a whole fucking operation. They're like mining. They create a mine shaft. The mine shaft collapses. The whole goddamn movie, Chris, is about them finding this gold, and then how the paranoia and fear of like, I've got a lot of money in this. What if the other guys are like taking my stash while I'm not looking? Gets to them. And the dudes all turn on each other. And you know what's fucking crazy? Or should I even tell you this? Because you're probably not going to watch the movie.
Go ahead.
It's in black and white. It's an old film. It's really, really good, though. Like, I didn't know how good old movies were until, like, last year. Anyway, the point is, the whole movie is about finding the gold, gathering the gold, protecting the gold. And then at the end of the movie, like, the characters are all, like, they've fully gone into psychosis, and they're, like, completely paranoid about the other guys, like, stealing the gold from behind their backs. And so Humphrey Bogart breaks, and he fucking, like, double crosses the other two guys and leaves with all of the gold. Like, their shares and his share. So, like, halfway through this movie, or like 3/4 of the way through this movie, and Humphrey Bogart this whole time has been sort of like a morally dubious character. He sort of like shows good-heartedness, but he's also like, you know, he's sort of like a guy who will just take an opportunity, whatever. But the point is, I did not know going into this movie that Humphrey Bogart was going to be the fucking villain. Like, our main character is the one who is corrupted the most by fear and greed, and he becomes like the villain, and the other two guys are trying to hunt him down. Then, at the very end of the movie, or not even at the very end of the movie, this is like Humphrey Bogart is off on his own with all of the mules and no gun because they knew he went crazy, so they took his gun from him. So he's wandering the desert with like 6 mules with tons of bags of golds on him.
Somebody probably pulls up, shoots him, and takes all the gold.
Even better than that, these 2 Mexican dudes roll up on him while he's wandering the desert, and they're like talking to him, and then he drops his guard for 1 second, and they like hit him over the head with a machete and just kill him, like in cold blood in the desert. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, this movie has Humphrey Bogart like become the villain, the main character, and then the main character just gets like killed by a random third party. Like, the 2 other main characters don't even get to find him and take their revenge. And then the 2 Mexican dudes who killed Humphrey Bogart just like start raiding the mules for whatever they've got on them, and they start taking everything, and there's like they got like animal pelts to put over the gold bags so that it wouldn't be obvious that they had gold. But the thing is, it's all like gold dust. Like it is gold. You can get gold out of this soil, but it just looks like sand. So the Mexican dudes go through everything.
They just dump it out.
They're just like slashing the bags with their machetes. They don't give a shit. And like $100,000 of gold in 1930. And it's like, it's all gone. The whole movie was about getting this gold, protecting this gold. And our characters like find out that Humphrey Bogart has been killed, and they like, the Mexican dudes bring the stolen mules into town and try and sell them. And it's discovered because they check the brand on the mules' asses. It's discovered that it was stolen and that the guy who really owns that mule has probably been killed. So they take the 2 Mexican guys into custody, and our other 2 remaining main characters find out about it. And they're summoned to go look at the mules and like get their stuff back. And they're like, oh my god, where are the bags? Where the fuck is it? Where did it go? And they talk to this little Mexican kid who saw the whole thing happen, and they go back to the place Humphrey Bogart was killed, and they're frantically searching like the desert landscape for these little white bags.
Yeah, you're not gonna find gold dust in the desert.
No, you're fucking not. They're looking for like any bags, even one intact. They had like 12. But they're fucking searching frantically, and then all of a sudden the old prospector dude, he finds a bag and he picks it up and it's empty, like it has a huge hole in it. And then he finds another one and it's also completely empty. And then he just starts laughing. He just bursts out laughing, like in a really, like a Joker laugh, like a really hysterical, like fit of laughter out of nowhere. And then the other guy, the cigarette guy from the beginning, starts laughing too. And because he sees the joke, he sees a grand joke in all the thing. And the prospector tells us, I don't know who created this earth, be it God or whatever higher power you believe in, but whoever it was, they sure do have a sense of humor. And they just make peace with it, that they're not going to get their gold back. And, during the adventure, they found other opportunities to, like, be, like, valued people and, like, make a living. Like, one guy's going to go work on a peach orchard. The prospector guy's going to go be a medicine man now. So they found fulfillment. Like, the real treasure was the adventure. They didn't get the gold. And that's sad. But at the end, like, you see our characters, like, ride off into the sunset, and the music swells, and you're like, oh, there's good things ahead for these guys. This wasn't a tragedy after all. This is a good ending for these boys. It's not the best ending, but, we salvaged it. At least the story's ending on somewhat of a good note. And then the camera pans down.
Yeah, but not only did...
The camera pans down, and there's a bag, intact, stuck on a cactus. They missed it. So, that, to me, the music swells, our heroes go off for lands unknown, having accepted that they failed their quest, but it's okay, they're moving on. And then the camera pans down, and it's like, oh, if you just looked a little harder. And that moment, Chris, That, to me, is what is happening in Steel Ball Run, where they say the child later died of a cold. You know? Steel Ball Run is a Western at its core. And every Western, every good Western should end with like a big emotion. Like a big conflicting emotion. It leaves you feeling one way, but you're also feeling like this. Like you're sad, but also you're hopeful for the future. You know, it's a trope in Western storytelling that like you don't get a beautiful, perfect, happy ending. You get sort of a bittersweet ending, and
I mean, did
that's
Gyro
life.
really get anything out of the deal? He died, and the kid he was trying to save died.
He created Johnny.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, like you could say the same thing about any brojo. What did fucking Mamazuku get out of this? Nothing, other than that he strengthened Josuke. So Gyro working the whole story to heal that kid, and then at the end he dies of a cold. That's exactly like the fucking bags of gold in Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
I don't know. Gyro being like having like a closer relationship with his parts, JoJo, than like previous Joe Bros. It kind of like makes me feel like he's more of a secondary protagonist
Yeah.
other than a supporting character who plays a role and then dies.
He was the protagonist at the beginning, bro. They introduced... Well, first of all, they introduced Sandman. That's crazy that Steel Ball Run opens with Sandman. Then it introduces Gyro. We see Gyro sign up for the race.
Phantom Blood opens with a fucking random, like, priest putting on the mask.
Right, the Aztec ritual. That's funny. I forgot about that, actually. It was the first page of JoJo. But yeah, I'm cool with Steel Ball Run's ending and that the kid just died of a cold because, like, that's a Western for you. That's just how that kind of storytelling works. They just hit you with that bittersweetness right at the 11th hour. And I'm wondering if JoJolion will end the same way. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, it's fine, but, like, they really just gloss over it, and I just find that hilarious.
Yeah. It's really funny the way it's presented, too. It's the same thing. The camera pans down. You know, it's just like
oh, by the way, the kid's dead anyway, so.
Yeah, just so matter of fact. And like there's nothing you can do about it. That's life.
It's like, well, I don't really know how to feel.
Have you ever seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
No.
I don't even know if I want to explain a whole nother Western thing, but that one has a story that ends much in the same way, where the dude walks back over the ridge and he needs to go tell this guy that like his wife killed herself, like because she thought they were under attack by Indians and that there was no chance of survival. Anyway, so he walks over the ridge and it's like Mr. Arthur had no idea what he would say to Billy Knapp. And it just zooms out. And the dog is alive too. The dog comes running back. The dog didn't get killed after all. But, you know, like, a big, bittersweet ending like that, it leaves you on a conflicting emotion, but still, like, leaves you going home satisfied. I'm starting to think probably JoJolion's going to end like that, too. You know, it's going to be a sad ending.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, do you ever think about this? Imagine if we hadn't reset the timeline after Part 6. Imagine if Parts 1 through 8 all took place in the same world. Then, like...
Okay, well... Parts 7 and 8 would probably have to be very different.
Yeah. But I'm thinking like
I don't even know how they could do that, considering like Part 6 was already in the future when he wrote it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, you know, Part 6 was the finale to all of JoJo that had come before. Part 8 is just the finale to 7 and 8. You know, Part 8 is not really, like, wrapping up all of JoJo. It's already wrapped.
I mean, if it's the last JoJo part, it damn well better be the finale of all of JoJo. Better fucking knock it out of the park, Araki.
Man, oh man. Give me one sec.
I don't envy him his position. I don't. I really don't. I imagine it must be insanely high pressure to have to like write a conclusion to the story that's been going on for 30 plus years.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This shit's hard. If I have to go write my own ending to JoJolion after this, it's going to be quite difficult.
Writing's hard.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it.
I've been trying to recently.
Yeah, how are your creative writing projects going, my man?
Well, I took a break from Department of Anomalies. I've been focusing more on like superhero stories actually recently.
Mm-hmm.
I have one written. I haven't really posted it much of anywhere yet, but I can probably send it to you when we're done here.
Sorry, I'm looking for something. I'm trying to figure out... Oh, this is... Yes. Okay, found it. Sorry, I don't mean to make it seem like I wasn't paying attention to your thing. I would love to read whatever sort of superhero fiction you have. I am free until 5. But I have a thing here that I wanted to mention. Because this is hilarious, and this is exactly how JoJolion's gonna feel when it's over. If we don't get anything big... If we don't get any significant, like, oh, so that's who Flashback Man was. So that's what the bite marks are about. Like, if we don't get anything like that, this is what the end of JoJolion is going to feel like. Me, at the end of a campaign, asking the Dungeon Master about all the plot hooks we missed.
What really happened here? Who was the cowboy who confronted Johnny and Larry that night? Was the old woman in on it, too? Could Danny have been hallucinating? But if Dan was hallucinating...
This is fact or fiction, isn't it?
What about
Yeah.
the mysterious behavior of the barbecue lid? Was it really the nanny? Does this story seem possible? Was the morgue attendant in on the deception, too? Were there gases trapped within the milk bucket that caused the activity? How was the doctor able to send email without a computer? Was this something...
How is the doctor able to send email without a computer? Jonathan Frakes. His delivery fucking slays me. But yeah,
I love Jonathan Frakes.
that's gonna be us when JoJolion ends without any satisfying answers to any of our questions. Was the nanny in on it? How is a doctor able to send a message without a computer?
Who was the Flashback Man? What did Yotsuyu Yagiyama mean by that?
Does this story seem possible to you? God.
Oh man.
Well, I think that's
Do we
it.
have any? Wait, hold on. Do we have any? Shoes left to drop to wrap up on this? Because a lot did happen this chapter.
I doubt we have any shoes yet to drop that we need to adjust, but let's go check it out.
I mean, we probably have some concerning Kato, and we need to fucking
Yeah, you're right.
get rid of those.
Alright, Flashback Man, Bite Marks, Norisuke knows Kira, Kato, parentheses, main villain candidate? Alright, let's mark
Nope.
that solved. But it really did feel like she was gonna be, based on her earlier appearance.
It did. It certainly did. This is part of the job too, Zach.
As if I signed up for this. I just wanted to read a manga I thought would be cool. I didn't ask for this. This is part of the job. I'm not even getting paid.
It was a recurring bit that you introduced.
Yeah. Okay, well, here we go. Toru, pure rock or half human? I think we can label that solved because it doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter anymore.
And I think we can just go ahead and say that he's pure rock. I mean, because like that was assuming that half rock human, half human characters were going to be in the story at all. The origin of the Higashikata rock curse. Where did the extra new Locacacasters go?
Looks
Joshu
like they
missing an
weren't.
arm. Jobin alive or dead?
Why did Araki even bring up half human, half rock humans if he wasn't going to use them?
I don't know. Can we move some things into red herrings?
Like what?
Like, where did the extra new Rokakas go? From 4 down to 2?
I guess we can, because now we've established that there are no more Rokakas.
Like,
in
I
this
still, like,
timeline, at least.
can you imagine how hard I would pop off if somebody just, like, walked back over to Jobin's bedroom and was like, oh, hey, guys, there's 2 still on the ground. Did anybody notice these? How did we not notice these? Like, if that happened, I would fucking explode. Because I've been saying this whole time.
That doesn't seem like where we're going with this now.
No. Also, how many fucking rock animals can the head doctor fit in his pockets? Goddamn.
That's solved now.
That's solved now, finally. Last chapter, you told me don't say that's solved yet because he still could take out another one.
And thank God I did, because he got killed twice in this chapter.
Yeah. Jobin, alive or dead? That one's still up in the air. Joshu missing an arm and fingers in the flashback. Because I guess this right here is still the flashback. Because if you think about it, there's no flash forward. We just continue on in the story. And then the next part that we see...
I'm very confused about the timeline now, because that was 13 minutes to the harvest, but now the harvest can't happen because the branch no longer exists.
Right. Which, like... You know, there only exist 2 possibilities. Either Araki knows what he's doing here, and he's making me feel on purpose like none of this is lining up. What's supposed to happen? How can there be a harvest? And there's still stuff coming? Or he's wildly incompetent at writing a story, only good at drawing.
There has to be more going on here.
But like, Chris, I'm reaching a point of, like, I'm at the, what is it called? The lowest point where you're an observer? Where is it? What is it? I'm at the, what's it called when you're observing from a low point?
Well, we've had a lot of incidences where Araki draws something and then he draws it differently a few chapters later, like completely differently.
Yeah.
And I think that's either he could be setting up the idea that timelines are a thing in this story, or he's just losing it.
Nadir! Dude, I was fucking... I knew it was going to be the opposite of the word zenith. You know, like zenith, the pinnacle, the highest you can possibly go. The nadir is the opposite of the zenith. It's the lowest you can possibly go. So I have hit the bottom of the nadir here of how much faith I have in JoJolian writing.
Well, don't say that.
I mean, I not opened this episode.
It can always get worse, especially if you point out that it couldn't get worse.
Well, at least it can't get any worse. Looks around, holds out hand as if it should start raining. You know, on a day where you want it to rain, you can just say that while you're standing outside and it will. It's like the modern day rain dance.
That's actually how that works.
Yeah. I've used it many a time when I wanted a rainy day. Just ask the universe, could it get any worse? And it will begin to rain. But yeah, man, I'm at the nadir point right now. Because earlier in this episode, I said, what if that master stroke isn't coming? And like that, as much as we talk about like ways that it could still be good and satisfying and a good story, I'm losing faith. You know, I still keep coming back to that thing I said, what if that master stroke isn't coming? Like, what if I'm a gullible moron thinking that this story is going to be the greatest one ever told, and it's actually not, and Araki's just like way past his prime and sucks now?
The real problem is that, like, we don't know that there has to be more coming. We are making an assumption based on past knowledge, and that assumes that Araki is still just as competent as he was when he wrote the other parts.
Right, like 7 was an absolute masterpiece. I don't know how we got from 7 to this. Unless I'm supposed to be feeling this way right now, and it'll all come together still. But it's just, I've said that probably like 50 times on this episode, because that's where I am. I'm in this constant battle of like, do I believe still? Or have I lost my faith? You know, am I a believer or am I a doubter?
I think we had a similar conversation, like when we talked about Miura dying and how Berserk will never be finished now.
Mm-hmm.
And like we keep bringing up like time investment and reasons to not give a shit, basically.
Yeah, and that's a like I can't deal with the reality where at the end of this I go, oh yeah, I should have skipped Chidolian. I shouldn't have read it. You know, like I like it when I get to look back and say, oh, I made the right call. I'm glad that, you know, I consumed that piece of art or media even when people told me it was bad and not to because I liked it. Or I'm glad that I consumed that piece of media. Like, other people told me it was good, I didn't believe them, but I consumed it anyway, and I agree. I'm down with it. Or, I'm glad I didn't.
We're both serious. We're both serious JoJo fans, so the prospect of not being able to look back and recommend a JoJo part is just utterly terrifying.
Yeah, it is. And extra on top of that, I've been recommending Part 8 to people, like, for the past 2 years. Since I've been reading it live, as it comes out, I've been going around to everybody I meet who's a JoJo fan and being like, oh, cool, what's your favorite part? And they're like, 4, or like 5, or 7. And I say to them, oh, dude, mine's 8. And they say, oh, what the fuck, really? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I thought JoJo was good. I like all the parts, and I thought Part 8 was going to be like a weird new one that's not as good. Like, you know, it's the one that's currently running. But I say to them, but I was dead wrong. I read that shit, and it's like the best one somehow. And they go, whoa, really? So I'm going to look like a fucking idiot if it turns out to be bad.
So for the final episode of this podcast, what we should do is we should do a live read, and you should bring a clown wig and a rubber nose, and based on how you feel at the end, you should put on the clown wig and the rubber nose.
Maybe I should, because I'm going to be wearing the Josuke cosplay, maybe I should just have the clown wig on underneath the sailor hat already.
No. You're going to take off the sailor hat and you're going to put on the clown wig.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. Because I was going to say, no, let me have it on under the hat so that, like, I can just remove it and it'll be there automatically. Like, just in case the last chapter's bad, I can just go, well, and just take off the hat. But I think it's funnier, actually, if you're like, well, Zach, you know it must be done. And I'm like, dutifully takes off sailor's hat, puts it to the side, reaches out of frame, comes back with rainbow clown wig and red nose.
Puts on clown wig, puts on clown makeup, puts on the nose.
My dude, you are not a clown. You are the entire circus.
I'm going to be right there with you, though.
Okay, so where did the extra new Locacacasters go? That can straight up get changed to a red herring.
Who cares? Who cares?
Well, that's a red herring because it's now exactly the same as the photo with Kyo Nijimura and Yotsuya Yagiyama claims to have killed Josuke before. Just shit that happened that didn't matter, looks like.
Araki is trying very hard to tell us that there are no more Locacacasters in this universe anywhere.
Mm-hmm. So...
And we've learned recently that when Araki says something, he means that shit.
Yeah, you gotta believe him.
Until he doesn't.
Yeah. I'm adjusting the numbering of our list here because I just moved something. So. All right, so these ones are solved. All right, so I have 21 things in shoes yet to drop, and then I have 3 things in red herrings. And out of the shoes yet to drop, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 solved. So we've got 9 out of our 21 big questions answered. We're almost halfway there. Is Part 8 pro or anti-predestination? I don't know that we're going to get an answer to that. I mean, you're just going to have to guess and interpret based on like how the story goes. Because we don't talk about fate anymore. We talk about flow and calamity.
It kind of seems to be zigzagging it a little bit. Because,
Yeah.
you know, after Toru got dealt with, they played around with the idea that like calamity was still going to be a thing. But then Josuke shows up and kills it anyway, so who cares?
God damn it. I can't, like... Let me just bitch again. I can't believe that, like, in order to get the good version of each JoJo part, you have to wait for the anime. Like, the manga, although the quality of the art is better, like, the way that they polish up the story and make it make sense, actually, and, like, layer events on top of each other like they did in Part 4, I feel like that's what makes it come to life. And it sucks that we have to wait until that happens to, like, get JoJolian as it should be. Because, like, things are going to get corrected, like, having a weird amount of time on the countdown till harvest timer. Like, certain situations, it doesn't make sense how much time has elapsed. They'll
It's
probably
not
fix
going
that.
to take. It's not going to take Yasuho like 2 days to get to the Higashikata estate, where it takes Josuke like 20 minutes.
Dude, Josuke got there in seconds. Like, let me ask you something. How much time do you think elapsed between Josuke firing that second shot at Kato? Oh, sorry, at Toru.
At the head doctor.
Yeah, at the head doctor. How much? Because, like, Josuke, he shoots that second bullet at Toru, and then he gets blasted onto the hood of the car.
Oh yeah, shit.
And
You're
then-
right. That is like fucking seconds.
I know. And then Kato is there. Go to the next chapter. Kato... Josuke's, like, walking out of the hospital right now, like, while Kato showed up. After firing the bullet. He goes to check on Holly. He remembers the corpses of Mamazuku and Kei Nijimura. And then he leaves the hospital. Then we see a shot of the town. Then, like, oh, Kato's on. And then she says, Inka no Mazame potatoes.
Wait, no. They had time to get a wrap to put Norisuke in, or to bring him outside. So, this
Hang on a second.
was like This was like at least several minutes.
So,
Because Norisuke was inside when this whole fight with Toru was taking place,
right.
but they brought him outside.
So,
And they loaded Joshua onto an ambulance as well. So we know, like, first responders at least had time to get there.
yeah, because there is actually a little bit of a time jump when Yasuo starts doing the narration.
So this could have been like 20 minutes, like I said.
Yeah. That seems to be accurate. But even so, Josuke crossed a city on foot in 20 minutes when it took Yasuo 17 hours with a car.
It took them 20 minutes with an ambulance to do what Josuke did on his feet.
Amazing. Why doesn't he just shoot Go Beyond at himself and blast himself up into the air? Like, he hit Toru with it. That made Toru airborne.
Oh, see, because it fires out of his shoulder and he can't control it.
Yes, of course. Not because hitting himself with Go Beyond would kill him. Because he cannot control it, of course. I mean, I think in order to be blasted as far as Toru was, you have to be, like, really seriously injured by the attack, don't you?
Well, one would think that, like, if it does enough damage to, like, toss you several like feet into the air. What he should do is he should just fire off a whole bunch at once in the opposite direction of where he wants to go. Newton's third law.
Right. Just shoot like 10 into the ground. Which is making me ask, is there any recoil when he shoots these bubble bullets? Because
Apparently not.
It doesn't seem like there is. But wouldn't it be cool if in the anime he like pulls his shoulder back? You know, like he cocks his shoulder forward and then fires it, and then it looks like his shoulder's blown back by the impact of him firing it. That'd be cool.
I want to see him break. I want to see him break his arm firing a bubble bullet at this guy.
What, like fucking Midoriya? Like he overcharges his stand and he fucking loses the usage of his left arm for the rest of the battle? So,
unironically, like using your superpowers and just damaging yourself in the process is really cool.
I know,
as
that's
a
like
concept.
That's such a raw trope. I love that whenever it happens. It's like, hey, it means more to me.
Fight.
Go ahead.
I love Midoriya's fight with Todoroki.
Yeah.
Because he just has like a limited number of shots and you can see them on his fingers.
Mm-hmm. It's like Johnny.
Because he's like, yeah, he's like firing off like one finger and it's like, well, that's useless now. And like when he gets to the end of it, he puts his thumb in his mouth and uses his mouth as the last shot. Like he flicks his lip out.
Yeah. You cut out for a minute there, but I get what you were saying based on where you ended. I love the moment as well where he's out of fingers and he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna punch. You know, like I've already used every finger once. So I'm just gonna punch with that hand and hope like it doesn't hurt any individual finger so much that I lose it permanently. Because you remember after that fight, medicine lady, old lady who kisses you, says, hey, if you keep doing this to your fucking arms, they're going to break permanently. You can't do this.
They specifically avoid doing the thing I hate that shonen anime always does, where like there are no consequences from using your powers as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
So like she says, yeah, no, if you keep doing this, you're just gonna lose your arms.
Yeah, you're gonna render
happen.
them completely unusable. Because like, think about what you're doing. You have superpowers, sure, but you don't have healing factor. Like, dude, you're just breaking and then having me heal your arms, and then breaking them and then having me heal them and then breaking them. Like, a human body cannot withstand this kind of treatment. So I really like that element in the story because it forces him to focus on like full cowling and using like a tiny percentage of the power at once. So it forces him to like get creative and figure out like.
It's also a major motivator for him to like differentiate his style from All Might's.
Right.
So he starts using like more kicks and stuff.
Do you remember when he tells All Might that he's gonna start kicking? And it's a really sweet moment because he's like, check it out. As of right now, I'm using my fists exclusively, and I feel like I've been doing that too much. So I've added some enhancements to the bottom part of my costume, so I have like stronger feet, and I'm going to kick now. I'm using it sort of just as a stopgap until I come up with something better. But I think it's working out really well. And then All Might watches him do like the training, and he's like kicking stuff, and he's like, my boy, it's already much more than a stopgap. You know, like he sees him and he's like, wow, the next generation coming to be. It's cool. It's great. I love that moment.
I've been told that doing the punching thing is actually really bad for my health. So what I decided is I'm just gonna like stop doing that and use like a different part of my body instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna break my legs instead, so I can still, you know, like even if I fight as hard as I possibly can and I break both my legs, at least I can still like, you know, sit in a wheelchair and eat a cup of tea in my old age. You know, rather break my legs than my arms. Also eat a cup of tea, just like crunch. But yeah, I love that trope.
Yeah, just the whole teacup.
The teacup and saucer, bro, in one bite. Chomp. But I love that trope because what it says to me is the protagonist, by doing that, by using their powers so much they hurt themselves permanently, the protagonist is saying, hey, I want to win this fight right now more than I want to be a healthy, normal, functioning person ever again. Like, this battle means so much to me. I am willing to, like, permanently ruin my personal health just to win. Just to stop you from executing your plan.
And he didn't even win.
Yeah, he didn't even win.
That was the best part of that. That was the best part of that was, like, he wasn't actually going, like, full force.
Mm-hmm.
but his goal wasn't even to win. It was to like get Todoroki to stop being an idiot and use all of his power.
Right. He was just trying to push the other guy far enough. It's also a cool aspect to have as a part of your fight. Or one guy knows the other guy's stronger, but is holding back. So his win condition is just to get him to stop holding back.
Just get the other guy to use more than 10% of his power.
Oh, hell yeah. But the thing where it's like, I want to win this fight right now more than I ever want to use my arms again. That's like, have you ever seen in a movie where two characters are about to like passionately make love and somebody like rips their shirt off? Like destroying all the buttons on the shirt? Like a button up? Like pop, 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 pop. Like pop, 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 pop. Like they rip their shirt off?
I have decided I never want to wear this shirt again.
Yeah, you know what you're saying when you do that? You're saying, I want to get to this sex 1 second faster so badly that I'm willing to never wear this shirt again in exchange. Like, I am so impatient. I want a bone so bad, I'm willing to trade never wearing this shirt again in exchange for it.
Well, that's also like the Yakuza games where like they just take off like the shirt, the jacket, everything just in one move right before the fight.
Mm-hmm. And it's like it comes from in the PS2 games where they couldn't like animate all of that, so they just had the guy like reach down into the left, and then the suit jacket that he's taking off covers the screen, so you don't see what's happening, but then when the jacket falls away, he's shirtless. So this is actually like I'm getting a robocall. Let's answer it on the podcast.
Thank you for choosing Hilton Hotels. We would like to inform you that thanks to the Friends and Family Rewards program, your membership was drawn to receive a complimentary stay. For further details, press 1 now. To be placed on the Do Not Call list, press 2 now. Thank
And
you.
that's
Your
that.
phone number will be removed within the next 72 hours. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused. Goodbye.
And that's that.
And that's that. I wish I had Paisley Park so I could send it into my phone when I get a robocall and like have it track down the motherfucker and like brick their computer. I wish I had Paisley Park. Anyway, what was I saying a second ago?
You were talking about like the origin of like them just taking off everything at once for the Yakuza fights.
Yeah, so in the thing that I was getting to was that's like a fan service thing from the old PS2 games. That's like people saw that and were like, psh, they can't animate them taking off the suit. But then when they could, like when the time came that they had the technology, they still kept doing the silly anime, like instant disrobe cut.
Why?
Because it's a callback to the PS2 games, you know? It's like a classic thing.
Why the fuck would they not? I mean, like, seriously.
It's like a legacy thing with the series. That's such a legacy series.
It's way cooler that way, though.
It's
way cooler that way.
Like, you know, Yakuza still has things like, they have like 4 different types of dialogue. Like, you know, there's like cutscene dialogue, like the high rendered cutscenes with fidelity. Then there's like the normal like in-engine cutscenes that you sometimes see like on side quests or in the middle of a main quest, but it's not like a very important cutscene. And then there's the cutscenes where people are talking to each other and their heads are moving around, but their mouths don't move and there's no speaking and it's just dialogue on the screen. And then there's regular talking to NPCs and it's just text.
Could you imagine?
There's like 4 different types of like text box conveyance in that fucking game, and it's because it's a legacy game. They don't want to cut any of that stuff because that's how they've always done it, you know.
Could you imagine if like they actually animated them, like taking off the individual articles of clothing every time they had to like remove go shirtless for a fight? It would be like all right, so I guess this fight's gonna happen now in like 30 seconds because I'm gonna take off my jacket. Oh wait, I need to unbutton my entire shirt. Never mind.
Yeah, maybe in 90 seconds then.
This.
Oh wait, hang on. Got to take off my watch too. 2 minutes.
So you just have like this awkward like silence where like they're just taking off their shirts.
Yeah, I mean you would have to have at least one guy show up shirtless and then have the villain like monologue to him while he takes his shirt off. There's no way you could do like.
Oh yeah. You could get away with like a villain like just taking off their shirt slowly,
Mm-hmm.
like as they're walking towards the fight. But then the hero just like grabs the collar and just like pulls the whole thing off in one go.
Have you ever seen Old Boy? The Korean movie?
No, but you have asked me about this.
Did I
several times,
spoil
I
it for you?
I'm not sure, cause I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's good. Because if I said that and you were like, yeah, you told me how it ends, and you told me this, this, and this, I would be like, oh, well then never mind. But Old Boy is a Korean film from 2003. And it's like a revenge story, but it's like it sort of gets turned on its head. It's really great. It's got a great twist. And the villain, when the hero gets to his penthouse at the end of the movie, the hero is dressed like a Yakuza character. Like, he's looked real bummy the whole movie, but then when in the final confrontation, he shows up in a black suit with a red shirt underneath. And, like, the lapels of the shirt are out and over the suit jacket, like Yakuza style. So he shows up and he's looking like that, and I'm like, oh, this is like Kiryu versus whatever the guy from the first game, because it's like a fist fight that's going to take place in a penthouse. And he gets there, and the villain is like butt-ass naked, walking out of the shower, just sort of holding a towel like lazily in front of his dick and letting the camera angle obscure it. And I'm like, oh, this is some Kira shit, actually. This is like Yoshikage Kira, Patrick Bateman type beat. And then the villain just like slowly gets dressed. He puts on each article of clothing. He selects them carefully, and then he puts them on slowly and methodically. And then he's wearing like his full suit, and he's fully dressed, and he goes up to the hero, and he like reveals the twist of the movie. And like, there is not a fist fight with the big bad guy. Like, it's different. It's crazy. So like, this dude, the other guy came here to fight, but he's just like, I'm just going to show you my dick and then slowly get dressed and monologue to you for 20 minutes. And by the end, you won't even want to fight me anymore.
Sometimes you just gotta show somebody your dick and monologue.
Power move, if ever there's been one.
Like, I just love the idea that, like, the villain, like, just takes off his jacket and shirt, like, one button at a time. Then the hero rips off his jacket and shirt in one move. And the villain's like, yeah, no, I'm still gonna fight him, though. Even though, like, that's a superhuman. Like, that is somebody you don't want to fight.
I would love it if the
Probably.
villain was like an OCD type person, like Kira, who will correct you if you put your sock on inside out. And he like carefully unbuttons his shirt and his jacket so he doesn't get blood on them. And then he sees you just rip them off, ruining them. And he's like, what, are you a psychopath? Why the fuck would you just ruined a perfectly good... Now I'm really going to beat your ass.
No, what he does is he goes over to the discarded pile of clothes, and he folds them neatly for him. That's a power move.
That's it right there. Oh no, and the hero is like, the fuck are you doing? And he's like, the villain says something like,
I want everything to be in order before I kill you.
Something like that. I was gonna go with like, these are the clothes you're gonna be buried in. We gotta keep them nice. Keep them in good condition. Like, this fight will end with your death, and I'm gonna ship you to the funeral home in these clothes. So, I'm gonna hang them up for you as my final act of kindness as a bougie villain. My type of deal.
That's much better than what I said.
I liked what you said too. I felt like my thing was stupid afterwards. Anyways, I'm not gonna give you.
I just felt like it needed to be like kind of snappier.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke too long about it because I was trying to get the proper feeling across. I didn't spend enough time writing the line.
I want everything to be in order before I beat you to death.
So I'm not going to give you any required listening this month. I don't have any songs for you. Although I
don't
guess
have
we could
anything
listen
for
to
you
Space
either.
Trucking.
Not on the podcast, no.
Oh, no. I mean, like, in between episodes, and we'll talk about it on the next one. Like, required song reading.
I already listened to Space Trucking.
I listened to a bit of it. Oh, you know what's crazy? Man, I fucking, right after the chapter was revealed, I was listening to Harmontown, the podcast, and somebody came on and was like, oh yeah, I'm a big music fan, I know lots about music. And then Jeff Davis was like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Who plays this? What song is this? Who's this by? And he hits go, and it plays like these guitar licks, and the guy's like, oh, I want to say Led Zeppelin. And he's like, no, Deep Purple. And somebody from the audience goes, Space Trucking! And I'm like, holy shit, that was space trucking? Like, I listened to this episode of this podcast months ago when this meant nothing to me, and I wouldn't have noticed or cared. But now, you know, it was crazy. I decided to re-listen to that specific episode, like, in the same, the month after Kato's stand name got revealed. That was kind of cool.
It's really interesting to, like, go to the YouTube video for, a song immediately after the chapter drops. And it's like, well, you kind of get to see it happening live.
In real time. You know, somebody out there was the first person to do that. They got there, and it was just a normal song. And you know what's funny is that Cool0210, Cool0210, the guy who translates JoJolion for Hiwa Matanoboru, he's on the team. He's the translator. It's his work that we've been reading this whole time. He wrote a tweet that I thought was amazing, where he was like, it's always that thing that, whatever he said, he was talking about that thing that happens where when a new stand gets revealed, the JoJo fans all flock to the comments and like spew JoJo shit all over them, and like they claim the video, they take it over as their own. And he was like, I'm in a pretty unique position right now because I have knowledge of this song before you guys do, so I could go there and post a comment right now and be like patient 0. I could be patient -1. Like, I could beat the rush. I could be the first guy. I'm not going to, but I could, you know? It's like, that's really cool to me that, like...
Yeah, because that's a uniquely Western thing that happens. Like, 'cause
Right.
Japanese fans don't... Japanese fans are more considerate than that.
Yeah, and also, like, considerate or not, I don't know that they would think it's funny, you know? Like, what's the... I don't know. So it's also...
I don't even really find it funny. I just find it interesting.
I know. It's sort of like just a phenomenon that's happening. Although I went on a big tweet rant the other day about how the English-speaking JoJo fandom was a mistake, and I wish it didn't exist so I could just interact with the text in isolation. But that was really hyperbole. I guess there are parts of it I still like.
But then, Zach, we wouldn't have this amazing podcast that we do every month.
Yeah, the greatest podcast ever created by man, woman, or child.
Are we trying to say anything else about this podcast? Or not the podcast, the chapter? Fuck.
What were we talking
right?
about 1 second ago? God damn it. Oh, space trucking, Deep Purple and such.
Oh, yeah.
Because required summer listening, and I'm not going to give you any of that. I don't have any of that for you. But I am going to give you some required summer watching. You got to watch Old Boy, the 2003 Korean film. Do not watch the English-speaking remake with Josh Brolin, made by Spike Jonze, because that's fucking horrible. Please watch the Korean 2003 film subtitled. Thank you.
Well, I'm taking a foreign film class over the next 6 weeks.
Wow.
So hopefully that's one of the assigned movies, so that I can actually have that. Just do that when I'm doing the class.
Yeah, I really hope it will be, actually. Like, I'm not that versed in foreign film, but as far as foreign action movie thrillers go that are really good and accessible to an American audience, Old Boy's it. Old Boy's the one people talk about. Oh, even if you don't like Korean movies, check that out. So yeah. I hope that does come up in your class, so it can be the moment in my senior year of high school where, just on a whim, I decided to read 1984 by George Orwell. I was like, I'm interested in this. Let's see what this is all about. And I read it, and I really liked it. I thought it was great. I understood it, and it was really sick. And then the next fucking week, my teacher is like, okay, so we're gonna be reading 1984 for our final book unit of the year, and I'm fucking pog-champing over there in my chair because I'm like, oh, I just read that fucking book. I don't have to do anything in this class for the rest of the year. This is amazing. Every day when we're reading, I can just tune out and just be on my phone or be fucking reading manga or drawing or whatever. I've already read this book. It was the greatest fucking moment I had in all 12 grades of schooling. Or I guess 13 grades, counting kindergarten. So I hope you can achieve a similar moment with Old Boy.
Well, yeah, my hope is twofold because like this way, like I might actually pay more attention and do better on the assignment probably
Mm-hmm.
because I'll be doing it both for like schoolwork and like podcast work.
I thought you were going to say general enjoyment. Yeah, podcast
And
work
general
works, though.
enjoyment. Yeah, no. Podcast work is general enjoyment. I enjoy this podcast.
Yeah, I like doing this podcast with you, too. This is, sometimes it's hard for me to wake up on time for this fucking thing, but that's just because I'm an asshole who always listens to my electrochemistry stat and always has another drink. But as hard as it is to sometimes arrive on time, I really do love coming here and doing the podcast and the streams with you.
There's a new meta that I've discovered to waking you up,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that I tell you to be up at 9 because I know, because I know if I say okay we're gonna do the podcast at 10, you'll be awake at 10, but then you'll take like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
to get
we'll
ready.
start at like
so if
11 or 10:30.
So if I say we'll start at 9, you'll be up at 9:30, take 30 minutes to be ready, and we'll be starting at 10 on normal time.
It worked. It totally worked on me. I took the bait. As I last night when I was going to sleep, I reread your message and I was like, fuck, he's expecting me at 9. He didn't say like 9 or 10 or whatever. Like, this dude's going to be up messaging me at 9. Shit. So it was already like 4 in the morning and it was already 5. And I was like, I gotta get 3 REM cycles, which a REM cycle takes 90 minutes just about. So when you're planning out your sleep, you should get it in 90-minute chunks, or 2 90-minute chunks is 3 hours. So you should plan to either get like 3 hours, 4.5 hours, 6 hours, 7.5 hours, or 9 hours. You should do it in increments of this. So when I push myself to the point where like I'm up late, I'm drunk, and I'm like, shit, I gotta wake up tomorrow, I start calculating like, okay, so when do I go to sleep to get it perfect, just 3 REM cycles and wake up on time? So I went to sleep at 5 a.m. last night, got 4.5 hours, 3 cycles, and then woke up at 9:30. Staggered to the kitchen to get some coffee, staggered back here, we started the podcast basically on time. Because it's 1:04 right now, and we've been recording for 3 hours. So we started at like 10:03. So your plan worked, man.
That's gonna be the new plan going forward. So I'm just gonna tell you we're starting at 9 because we never start at 9.
Yeah, and the thought crossed my mind, like maybe he's reverse psychologying me, and he's just doing this expecting that we'll actually start at 10.
No, see, that's why I told you like late at night, so that like your defenses would be down and you wouldn't be able to process that much information.
This is hilarious. It's like getting me to come to the recording sessions is like a stand battle. Like, Chris, you've had to fucking like come up with new strategies. You're playing the long game.
It's some straight up light Yagami shit. Is what it is.
Yeah. Although this
I knew you were gonna do this, so I did this.
Yeah. Exactly. We're just trying to outthink each other here on the Locacacast. What else was I gonna say? When do you want to do Disco Elysium next, my brother? Since we're sitting here talking about how we like streaming and recording so much together.
Well, let's see. I have, like, this is the final 2 weeks of like my current summer class.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably, I'm probably just gonna like try to bang out the rest of my work this week. So probably next week sometime would be a good time to do Disco Elysium.
Okay, solid. Oh, excuse me, Jesus, that was a horrible burp. Oh, thank you, Jonathan Frakes. I forgot that's what I had open. But I have my schedule for next week at work already, and I am pleased to announce that I finally have a consistent set of days off. So I can just tell you right now, up front, most of the fucking time, I'm going to be working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm going to work 4 days a week, and then I'm going to be off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. I struck a deal.
That's going to work.
Go ahead.
That's gonna work great. That's gonna work great because I recently I was planning stuff out for like the fall semester that's upcoming,
Right.
and my schedule is gonna be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So my Tuesdays and Thursdays are gonna be free.
Excellent, dude. That's great fucking news. Because a while ago, I was like, hey, I'm going to be off Tuesdays consistently. And then I wasn't. So I struck a deal with my boss to have a more consistent schedule and so that I could have 4 days on, 3 days off a week. Because I was working like usually 5 days. And I'm like, nah, I want a better work-life balance than this. Because what I would do with those days is just sleep, just recover. And then I just go straight back to work. So I feel like I didn't have enough lifetime. So I struck a deal where if I work the busy days, Friday, Saturday, then I can have those 3 days off in the middle of the week when it's slower. So I'm going to be off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from now on. So if Tuesday and Thursday, we can make those our fucking days to record or stream or whatever, that'd be sick. We can have a real consistent thing going over here.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to finish Batman.
We do need to finish Batman, but well, let's see.
Oh, you know what? The thing is, though, that, like, because you're posting them week by week and splitting them up into 30-minute chunks, what you're about to say, your next line is, I won't be out of Batman for a while longer, so we don't really need to record yet. But Chris, we're almost to the end of the game. I, right now, am at peak investment and peak wanting to know what happens next in the story. So we gotta record this thing soon.
We can, but you have to agree not to talk about Batman on the podcast.
Oh, on the Locacacast?
Because you are part of the content creation, thus are privy to details that may not have come up yet in the release schedule.
Oh, gotcha. So theoretically, if there's somebody out there following all Chris Merkel Studios content, then if they watch the Locacacast, they could get spoilers about our Batman playthrough.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I will refrain from saying anymore.
If for some reason somebody has not yet gotten around to a 6-year-old Batman game.
Yeah, like me. I mean, I wasn't ever going to get around to it. But the one thing I will say is this. We need to talk about whether or not Batman eats pussy. And that's a topic.
We do need to talk about that.
That's a topical.
Absolutely.
That's topical right now. So like,
I would like to put this forward. Fuck DC.
Fuck DC.
I don't care what you say. In this household, Batman eats it.
Dude, did you see the drawing? Did you see that Zack Snyder posted the thing and he said canon?
I did see the drawing.
You saw the drawing, and then did you see the other thing where the guy was like, he just tweeted, I've written Batman, and he does. And then the next tweet below that, like he did a thread, the next tweet below that was, his head has handles on it.
It does have. I saw like there were a couple of videos from this cosplayer who does a really good impression of God, what's her name? Grey Delisle.
Grey Delisle, yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she does a really good impression of Grey Delisle, and she was talking about the handlebars and about the face hole.
Yeah. The last tweet in that series was, "Why doesn't the mask cover the bottom part of his face?" Like
and about the fact that her zipper goes all the way down.
Yep. I mean, like, who are we kidding? You know, like, who are we kidding? Who do you think you're fooling?
This is a perfect conflux of coincidences to create oral sex.
Yes, it's like the miracle in JoJolian. You know, a series of situations and coincidences that lead to. No, it's actually nothing like the miracle. Never mind. You just said a series of coincidences or a confluence of whatever. But what else was I gonna say? Fuck. Oh, do you remember a few years ago when there was that controversy where DJ Khaled was like, "Nah, I don't eat pussy. Hell nah. What self-respecting man would do that?"
I do remember that. I saw the memes of like fucking like muscle bro handshake DJ Khaled and Batman.
The
And in
handshake
the
of
middle,
racial
it's
unity.
not eating pussy.
Yeah. But I also saw like DJ Khaled on the Bat motorcycle from the Dark Knight movie, and it was like, oh my god, so we know who Batman really was all along. And it's like a picture of DJ Khaled like photoshopped out of one of those pictures where he's riding his jet ski. So it looks perfect, like he's on the motorcycle and he's got a big Batman cape behind him. It's fucking sick. Also, do you remember how Smash Mouth quote tweeted DJ Khaled back in the day during this pussy debacle? And they said, "A king who doesn't is no king at all." And that was the moment, like, I was sure we were in the weirdest possible timeline, because Smash Mouth is clowning on DJ Khaled for not eating pussy. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
People were posting screenshots of Robin and Starfire from Young Justice.
Oh yeah, because they make like
saying like, well, if Batman doesn't eat pussy, then he sure trained Robin wrong.
That's great. Because I was gonna say, because in Young Justice, where it's are we thinking of the same thing? Where it's they're sort of like it's Teen Titans characters like Robin and Starfire, but they're like kind of older.
Yeah. It's like it's a more like a detailed style.
Yeah.
Where like Teen Titans was more like anime, like
anime cartoon,
sort of low detail,
very like over exaggerated in the character designs.
But Young Justice is more like a Western animation style.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw a clip from that a while ago that was like Starfire like misinterprets something Robin says, and it's like a dirty joke that the audience is supposed to get, not if you're a tiny kid.
We should do that. We should do that move we did last week.
Yeah.
Here. I'm not sure this is the right place for that.
Yeah. And I just was thinking back to that, and I was like, DC, like your characters fuck. You know they fuck. You make jokes about them fucking. Like what's
this is the company. This is the company who thought it was okay for Batman to have sex with a girl about half his age, also the daughter of his best friend in the whole world. But he didn't go down on her.
So he's still a perfectly decent man. Because of course, this is the only way to retain your purity. I mean, like, what the hell? Like, we're not sex gods, you and I, but that just strikes me as selfish. Like, what are you fucking...
for yourself.
Okay, all right. I shall.
I'm joking.
But you know, like, that just strikes me as selfish. Like, what? You're just gonna take and not give? It's supposed to be a give and take type deal. Am I correct in assuming this? I thought sex was a two-player thing.
I believe you would be correct. Yes.
Yeah. Takes two to tango, as they say.
Not that I would know.
I mean, not fuck. What is a fuck? I don't even know what that is. All right. I think actually now we can't talk about whether or not Batman eats pussy on the Let's Play because we just exhausted it here. We just did all the.
Well, we just using all of our good material.
Oh yeah, just burning it all up.
So if you came here for a discussion of Jojo Leon,
I'm sorry.
Please enjoy our conversation on the fact that Batman does in fact eat pussy. And I'm sorry if you show up for the next Batman part.
Having missed that.
The next one that we record, not the next one that comes out, obviously, because the next one that comes out we recorded like a year ago, probably.
Oh man. I mean, based on how many times we've like almost run out of episodes, and you've been like, dude, we need to record again. I'm out, or I'm gonna be out in a week or two. I feel like these things are coming out pretty close to when they get recorded.
They're fairly close, but
yeah.
I do record like a lot at a time.
You know, though,
like
we've been talking about this subject.
5 hours produces like 10 episodes.
Right.
So that's just like 10 weeks of content for one day of recording.
Yeah, that's a pretty good labor to output ratio. I'll say that much. We've been talking about this subject of Batman and for so long, and I just had this picture of Josuke with Yasuo leaning on his shoulder. And in my mind, I went, does Josuke eat pussy? Would he?
Oh.
And then I was like, wait, no.
Sure.
I mean, like, he doesn't he has no memories. Would he just instinctively know? He would just know what to do?
Listen, the
Uh-huh.
Joestar bloodline is the pathway to many abilities some would consider unnatural. I
Every
don't know where I was
Joestar
gonna
is
go
an absolute
with that,
clit
so I decided
destroyer.
to just turn it into Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, we already, like, are expecting to get Palpatined at some point. Why don't we just fucking lean in? Alright. I think that's just about it for this episode of
do you think-
Locacacast.
Hey, do you think Jonathan eats pussy?
I don't know that Jonathan did anything with Erina except just, like, missionary in the dark through a bedsheet for the sole purpose of procreation. You know? It was London in the 1800s. He's a gentleman. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
But Joseph, though.
Dude, Joseph, you gotta imagine, like, why do you think Tomoko was so excited to see him again and that it was Jotaro? You know? Like, I'm not saying anything here in particular, but Joseph
So
must have,
Jotaro,
like, rocked her fucking
Jotaro-
world if she
so
was
Jotaro,
like...
we're just gonna assume Jotaro doesn't because that's why his wife left him.
Well, his marriage is in shambles, yeah. I mean, do you think if he had those kind of techniques, his fucking family life would be so destroyed? No, that wife would have stayed with him. Josuke? No, too young. Giorno, too. Jolene, yes.
all the others
Jolene, huge yes. Jolene's the only, like, 100% undeniable.
Well, I mean, she would have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Dude, if Jolene is not gay, I'll eat my hat. You know? If she's not after what Romeo did, and then after being in the women's prison for that long.
Johnny, though, he doesn't.
Dude, Johnny... I don't even know what to say. I feel like Johnny would have okay, so he can, like, walk now, but he's just using the spin on his muscles in his legs to make them, like, expand and contract. So is he, like, any good in bed? Can he, like, move his body properly?
He's probably focusing all of his attention on the spin so that, you know, he keeps it up.
Wait, yeah, I forgot. He got shot in the spine. So does his dick work? Like, is he spinning his own dick? Okay, I'm glad we didn't end the podcast like 3 minutes ago.
We're ending it now, though, right?